Chapter 2305. Brother Hong Lu, please. Lu Ming waved his hand. Brother Lu, be careful. Hong Lu said. The muscles on his body bulged slightly, and a terrifying whistling sound came from his body. That was because his vitality was too rich, and the fluctuations produced when he circulated it were like the roar of a true dragon. When one's vitality reached such a level, it was absolutely terrifying. Even without the law of life and the indestructible ancient scripture, his vitality was shockingly strong, and ordinary injuries could be healed quickly. Boom! Hong Lu's muscles trembled, and his body rushed toward Lu Ming, throwing a punch at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly, and the power of the world in his body circulated to the extreme. All the power of his physical body was also mobilized by Lu Ming. In addition, Lu Ming used a law, which was the law of primal chaos. Boom! Lu Ming also threw a punch. This punch was the combination of Lu Ming's physical strength, the power of the world, and the law of primal chaos. With Lu Ming's current cultivation and the third level of the law of primal chaos, the power of this punch was extremely shocking. Bang! Their fists collided. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. He felt that Hong Lu's fist was like hundreds of mountains, and waves of terrifying power rushed toward Lu Ming. Even the third level of the law of primal chaos trembled and was almost penetrated. Lu Ming's body could not help but retreat. Hong Lu's body only swayed slightly, and then he stabilized himself. What powerful strength, what powerful combat strength! Lu Ming was a little shocked. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, even if he only used the law of primal chaos, his combat strength was extremely shocking. Few people of the same level in the Taiching Sky domain could stop him, but Hong Lu was able to push him back with a punch. Hong Lu's combat strength was top-notch even in the Taiching Sky domain. Brother Hong Lu, you're amazing! The children and youths cried out excitedly. But Hong Lu himself had a very grave expression. Although he had forced Lu Ming back with one punch, he felt that Lu Ming had not used his full strength at all. His body contained a terrifying amount of power. Brother Lu, you haven't used your full strength yet, have you? Use your full strength. Hong Lu said. Come. Lu Ming only said one word. At the same time, his body lit up continuously. Array Dao Law, Tools Dao Law, Penetration Dao Law, and Force Dao Law. Lu Ming had successively used 4 types of laws. Among them, the laws of Array Dao and the laws of Tools Dao were at the 3rd level, while the laws of penetration and the laws of force were at the 2nd level. Lu Ming's aura became even stronger. Boom! 5 types of laws fused together, augmenting Lu Ming's fist. Lu Ming punched out again. Hong Lu also charged towards Lu Ming, throwing out a punch. Bang! The two of them clashed for the 2nd time, and the space where their fists collided constantly exploded, revealing spiderweb-like cracks. This time, the two of them swayed at the same time and retreated a few steps. Then, the two of them fought again. Bang! 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 The collision of fists was very direct, and they continued to bombard each other. Lu Ming did not use his mystique, the laws of life and death, and neither did Lu Ming. The two of them exchanged more than 100 moves and ended in a draw. After another move, the two of them retreated, and Hong Lu panted heavily. Awesome, awesome, the system of laws is indeed amazing. Brother Lu, did you use your full strength? Tell me. Hong Lu stared at Lu Ming. More or less. Almost, haha. Lu Ming smiled. He did not use his full strength mainly to save Hong Lu some face in front of the children. After all, Hong Lu was the strongest prodigy of the archaic body cultivator generation and was the idol of these children. If he defeated Hong Lu, it would inevitably affect the children's confidence. You rascal, I knew it. We'll fight again next time. Hong Lu was forthright. He chuckled and did not take it to heart. He stared at Lu Ming and said, "Your physical body is really strong. It is not weaker than some body cultivators. Why don't you try to cultivate the techniques of body cultivators? What do you think? A body cultivator's dermic formulation?" Lu Ming was stunned. "Look over there." Hong Lu pointed to the north. That was the edge of the training ground. There was a huge cliff, and from afar, one could see that the cliff was densely written with words. What's recorded is a body cultivator's dermic formulation. Let's go and take a look. Hong Lu said. Brother Hong, that's a body cultivator's dermic formulation. I'm afraid it's not appropriate for us to take a look. Lu Ming said. Every system had its own dermic formulation, and many of them were not taught to outsiders. They were not body cultivators, and it would be bad if they violated the taboo. It's fine. That body cultivator's dermic formulation is only used to strengthen one's foundation. Anyone can cultivate it, and it's not a core dermic formulation. Hong Lu said, taking the lead and walking toward the cliff. Lu Ming and Ren Chan were curious, and they followed behind Hong Lu, arriving at the bottom of the cliff. Minor Heavenly Mystery Technique. Lu Ming looked carefully and found that what was recorded on the cliff was a body cultivator's dermic formulation called Minor Heavenly Mystery Technique. This Minor Heavenly Mystery Technique is the most widespread body cultivator's dermic formulation in the primordial era. It's also the most suitable body cultivator's dermic formulation for building one's foundation. Anyone can cultivate it, and it's divided into 12 levels. If the two of you are interested, you can take a look at it. It's very helpful to improve one's physique. Hong Lu said. Many thanks. Lu Ming and Ren Chan expressed their gratitude and looked at the dermic formulation in detail. It's really amazing. So there are so many things to pay attention to, Lu Ming sighed while looking at the dermic formulation. Soon, he memorized all the contents and sat down cross-legged to comprehend them. 2 days later, Lu Ming began to cultivate. First, he circulated the first level of the Minor Heavenly Mystery Technique. Buzz. A buzzing sound came from his muscles, bones, and even his internal organs. This buzzing sound turned into a mysterious force, like a sound wave, permeating into every part of Lu Ming's body. At this moment, Lu Ming felt his entire body go numb, as if he had been electrocuted. His body trembled slightly according to a mysterious pattern. Lu Ming found that his body was slowly becoming stronger. Some parts that were difficult to temper before were also becoming stronger. Although the degree of strengthening was very weak, it was indeed becoming stronger. It was as if his body was being thoroughly baptized and polished. Not long after, Lu Ming felt that he had successfully cultivated the first level of the Minor Heavenly Mystery Technique. Next, the second level. Lu Ming continued to cultivate the second level. In the second level, Lu Ming found that the refinement of his body was more thorough. His muscles and bones were trembling at a mysterious frequency. His entire body was numb and itchy, and his muscles and bones were slowly transforming. One should know that Lu Ming's body was already very strong, but now, it could still transform. This was very shocking. Chapter 2306. From start to finish, Lu Ming spent 3 days to successfully cultivate the first 3 levels of the minor Tianxian skill. Beside him, Hong Lu was secretly shocked when he felt the fluctuations coming from Lu Ming's body. In just 3 days, he had successfully cultivated the first 3 levels of the minor Tianxian skill. Even though he knew that Lu Ming's physical strength was already very strong, Hong Lu was still shocked. This speed was too fast. However, Lu Ming did not stop. He was completely captivated. Every moment, he could feel his physical body getting stronger and stronger. His muscles and bones were itching, and there was a wonderful fluctuation coming from them. This feeling was too good, too wonderful. Lu Ming was completely immersed in his cultivation, forgetting himself and the time. After finishing the 3rd level, Lu Ming began to cultivate the 4th level, then the 5th, the 6th. The higher the cultivation level, the greater the improvement it would bring to him. The minor Tianxian skill was originally used by body cultivators to build their foundation and strengthen their foundation. As for Lu Ming, he had never cultivated a body cultivator's technique before. His physical body had been strengthened by external objects and external forces. This kind of improvement would inevitably lead to an unstable foundation. For example, there were some blind spots in the body, some extremely secretive places that were not tempered, and thus there would be flaws. Now, Lu Ming had reorganized his physical body. Although his physical strength did not increase by much, the strength and quality of his physical body were qualitatively different from before. Moreover, after cultivating the minor Tianxian skill to the 6th level, his foundation was very solid. The strength of his physical body had also begun to increase. 7th level, 8th level, 9th level, Lu Ming used half a month to cultivate the minor Tianxian skill to the 9th level. Moreover, Lu Ming had no intention of stopping. He was already attacking the 10th level. This shocked Hong Lu. How is this possible? In just half a month, he has cultivated the minor Tianxian skill to the 9th level and is still continuing. This is a peerless genius, a body cultivator's peerless genius. This matter must be reported to the elders. Hong Lu muttered to himself. Then, he quickly left the place and reported this matter to his superiors. Not long after, beams of prismatic light appeared. There were more than a dozen old men, all of whom were elders of the Archean body cultivator lineage. When these people saw Lu Ming, their eyes widened. He's already reached the 10th level. Unbelievable. For someone who cultivates in the nomological system to be able to reach the 10th level of the minor heaven mystery art in such a short period of time, he is definitely a peerless genius. I wonder if he can successfully cultivate all 12 layers of the minor sky mystery art. The dozen or so old men discussed excitedly and shockingly. Although the minor heaven mystery technique was the foundation technique of the body cultivator lineage, it was also the most important technique. Only by cultivating the minor heaven mystery technique to a high enough level could one cultivate the core techniques of the body cultivator lineage. However, not everyone could cultivate the minor heaven mystery technique to perfection. In fact, it was already very good to be able to cultivate to the 9th level and be considered a genius of the body cultivator lineage. In the future, their achievements would definitely be extraordinary. As for the highest level, the 12th level, there were not many people in the body cultivator lineage since ancient times. Each and every one of them was a rare genius. Ru Honglu was such a prodigy. However, he took a much longer time than Lu Ming. To be able to cultivate the minor heaven mystery technique to such a level in such a short period of time was definitely one of a kind. Everyone waited quietly. Later, Ren Chan also ended her cultivation. Up until now, she had only cultivated to the 3rd level. If she continued, she felt that her strength was not enough and needed time to slowly polish it. When she saw the dozen or so old men staring at Lu Ming without blinking, she was shocked. After asking Hong Lu about it, she understood the whole story. Freak. Ren Chan sighed. The body cultivator lineage did not know how freakish Lu Ming was, but she knew that Lu Ming had mastered 3 types of supreme laws. In the system of laws, he was also an unprecedented figure. Now, Lu Ming was actually so freakish when cultivating the body cultivation technique. She could not help but sigh. Lu Ming was unaware of everything that was happening outside. He was immersed in his cultivation. Soon, he completed the cultivation of the 10th level and broke through to the 11th level. He could feel that his physical body was constantly growing stronger and tougher. His strength was also increasing. In particular, there was a drop of ancestral dragon blood in his heart. As Lu Ming cultivated the minor heaven mystery technique, that drop of ancestral dragon blood also had traces of energy that poured into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming refined it, increasing the strength of his physical body. The 11th level was not difficult for Lu Ming and he was quickly cultivated to success. Next, it was the 12th level. Buzz. Buzz. This was also the last level of the minor heaven mystery technique. At this point, Lu Ming's physical body was constantly trembling and emitting a buzzing sound. He felt that his physical strength was extremely powerful. After Lu Ming cultivated the minor heaven mystery technique for a month, Lu Ming finally cultivated the minor heaven mystery technique to perfection. He succeeded. Oh my God, he managed to cultivate the minor heaven mystery skill to the perfection stage in just 1 month. His talent is too amazing. This kind of body cultivation talent cannot be wasted. I think we should impart the 7 divine mystic technique to him. I agree. More than a dozen old men spoke excitedly, their eyes shining. When they looked at Lu Ming, it was as if they were looking at a peerless treasure. Even Hong Lu was shocked. The elders actually wanted to impart the 7 divine mystic technique to Lu Ming. The 7 divine mystic technique was completely different from the minor heaven mystery technique. The minor heaven mystery technique was only a basic cultivation technique of the body cultivation lineage. It was very widespread and could be cultivated by anyone. However, the 7 divine mystic technique was the core cultivation technique of the body cultivation lineage. It was one of the top secret cultivation techniques. Generally, only the geniuses of the body cultivation lineage could cultivate it. Hong Lu himself cultivated this cultivation technique. This showed how much the elders appreciated Lu Ming. To be able to cultivate the minor heaven mystery technique to perfection in just a month was unprecedented in the history of body cultivation. This kind of talent was too amazing. If he did not cultivate the cultivation technique of the body cultivation lineage, it would be a waste. Phew. At this moment, Lu Ming let out a long breath and opened his eyes. My strength has doubled. Lu Ming felt his strength and revealed a look of excitement. His physical body had become much stronger and his strength had doubled. With the help of the Supreme Force and the various laws, Lu Ming's combat strength had undoubtedly increased by another level. Lu Ming felt that if he unleashed his full strength, his combat strength would reach the 18th level true emperor. Afterward, Lu Ming swept his gaze around and got a shock. This was because more than 10 pairs of sparkling eyes were staring intently at him. Little guy, how do you feel? Is your physical body much stronger? You're a peerless genius of the body cultivation world. How about this, don't cultivate the law system in the future. Cultivate the body cultivation lineage instead. I'll take you as my disciple. Get lost, he's my disciple. The dozen old men glared at each other and began to fight over Lu Ming. They all wanted to take him as their disciple. Chapter 2307. More than a dozen white-haired old men glared at each other, looking like they were about to draw their swords, but when they looked at Lu Ming, their eyes were burning. After a long while, Lu Ming reacted. That, seniors, this junior cultivates the nomological system. I have no intention of abandoning the nomological system and focusing on cultivating the physical body. Lu Ming said honestly. It was not easy for him to achieve his current achievements in various nomological systems. He had sacrificed too much. Moreover, his nomological system was unprecedented. In the future, he would master more strongest nomological systems. How could he give it up just like that? You still want to cultivate the nomological system? Kid, let me tell you, your talent in physical cultivation is definitely stronger than the nomological system. Do you understand? It's a waste if you don't cultivate the physical body. Don't ruin your future. The dozen or so old men panicked and tried to persuade Lu Ming. Seniors, I've made up my mind. I won't change it, but, Lu Ming rolled his eyes and revealed a smile. However, I can do dual cultivation. I can cultivate the nomological system and physical body together. Seniors, what do you think? Practice together? The dozen or so old men quieted down and looked at each other. Kid, the path of cultivation is very difficult. Who knows how much effort it takes to cultivate one of them? Many people spend their entire lives and still can't cultivate one of them to the peak. If you want to cultivate both, I'm afraid you're biting off more than you can chew. That's right. You won't be able to cultivate both. The dozen or so old men criticized Lu Ming sternly. Seniors, I understand this logic, but others are others. I'm different from others. With my unparalleled talent, it's definitely not a problem to cultivate the nomological system and the physical body together. Lu Ming said shamelessly. His face was not red and his heart was not beating fast. This kid is simply shameless. But what he said makes sense. With his talent, it's indeed difficult for others to compare to him. Are we going to pass the 7 gods' mysterious art to him? He doesn't specialize in body cultivation. It's not good to pass it on to him like this. The 7 gods' mysterious art is the highest secret of body cultivation. It can be practiced to the legendary supreme realm. In my opinion, it's better to ask the Taishang elder. Yes, I think so too. The dozen or so old men gathered together to discuss. After a while, one of the old men said to Lu Ming, "Brat, you wait here. We'll go ask the Grand Elder for instructions." After saying that, the dozen or so old men all left. Lu Ming, you actually managed to cultivate the minor heaven mystery art to perfection in just 1 month. How did you do it? Hong Lu walked over in amazement. Ren Chan also curiously sized up Lu Ming. She had also cultivated before, but she could only cultivate to the 3rd level. If she wanted to continue to improve, she didn't know how much effort it would take. She knew how difficult it was. However, Lu Ming was able to cultivate it to the peak in one go. This was simply a miracle. I don't know. I just casually cultivated it to perfection. Is it that difficult? Lu Ming asked in surprise. Ren Chan and Hong Lu's eyelids twitched. They were tongue-tied and couldn't speak at all. They were so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood. It was a complete blow. It's not difficult. After holding it in for a long time, Hong Lu squeezed out such a sentence. It should have something to do with the ancestral dragon blood, Lu Ming pondered. He felt that the reason why he could cultivate the minor heaven mystery art to perfection in one go was largely related to the drop of ancestral dragon blood. This was because when he cultivated to the end, the energy in the ancestral dragon blood was constantly being refined. That was why Lu Ming was able to cultivate the minor heaven mystery art to perfection in one go. Then, Ren Chan asked Lu Ming about the cultivation method of the minor heaven mystery art. They chatted while waiting. They didn't have to wait for too long. The dozen or so old men returned. Kid, we have already asked the Grand Elder. The Grand Elder thinks that your talent is really rare. It would be a pity if you don't cultivate your physical body. Therefore, the Grand Elder has agreed to pass the 7 gods' mystic art to you. Take it. An old man said. Then, he took out a roll of animal skin and handed it to Lu Ming. The cultivation method of the 7 gods' mystic art is recorded on it. Memorize it and return this roll of animal skin to us. The old man said. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming thanked him. He was overjoyed. Then, he took the animal skin and carefully looked at it. Soon, he memorized all the contents on the animal skin and returned it to the old men. Lu Ming closed his eyes and carefully comprehended the contents. The Seven Gods' mystic art was a supreme physique cultivation method. It was many times more exquisite than the minor heaven mystery art. The Seven Gods' mystic art was divided into 7 levels. Each level was divided into early, middle, and late stages. Lu Ming used a full 7 days to roughly understand the contents of the first few levels. Then, he began to cultivate. Buzz. Buzz. His muscles, bones, organs, and even every drop of blood in his body emitted a mysterious vibration. Waves of mysterious power seeped into every corner of Lu Ming's body and into every cell. Lu Ming's physical body was undergoing a transformation. The first 2 levels of the 7 divine mystic art were also a way to build a solid foundation. It was very similar to the later levels of the Xiaoxiangshuan skill. Lu Ming was able to cultivate it with ease. Very soon, he had mastered the first 2 levels. 7 days later, Lu Ming reached the 3rd level of the Seven Gods' mystic art. At the 3rd level of the Seven Gods' mystic art, one could fight against Void Emperor with just the strength of their physical body. At the 4th level, one could fight against a true emperor with just the strength of their physical body. The 5th level corresponded to a grand emperor. The 6th level corresponded to a heavenly emperor. And the highest level, the 7th level, corresponded to a supreme realm. After reaching the 3rd level, Lu Ming's cultivation speed slowed down. He continued to circulate the Seven Gods' mystic art. The drop of ancestral dragon blood in his heart also continuously circulated energy throughout Lu Ming's body. Following the circulation of the Seven Gods' mystic art, the energy seeped into every cell of Lu Ming's body and continuously strengthened Lu Ming's physical body. Time passed day by day. Lu Ming continued to break through. Early 3rd level, middle 3rd level, late 3rd level. After a full 2 months, Lu Ming finally reached the late 3rd level of the Seven Gods' mystic art. However, Lu Ming did not stop. He felt that he could continue to break through. During these 2 months, Ren Chan, Hong Lu, and a dozen old men had been watching nearby. A genius, a genius. He reached the late 3rd level of the Seven Gods' mystic art in one go and has no intention of stopping. This has never happened before. A dozen old men exclaimed. At this time, a few burly men flew over, their faces grave as they reported, "Elders, something bad has happened. Outside the exit, where our ancestors are sleeping, a large number of strange races have gathered. They have already launched an attack, and their strength is extremely strong. They're here. Let's go and gather all the experts." Chapter 2308. The elders all left and headed towards the exit of the small world. At the same time, a large number of archaic body cultivators rushed towards the exit. At the exit of the small world, where the archaic body cultivator ancestors were sleeping, a terrifying battle broke out. Countless foreign race powerhouses bombarded the tombs like a gust of wind. The tombs split open and zombies walked out one after another. These zombies were very terrifying. Many of them had the combat strength of a great emperor. Some even had the combat strength of a heavenly emperor. These zombies were all top body cultivators when they were alive. In addition, there were also archaic body cultivators fighting with the endless foreign races. More than a dozen elders and a large number of body cultivators rushed out and charged towards the foreign races. Kill! Those old men looked to be gray-haired. At this moment, they shouted loudly. Their blood chi soared into the sky like smoke signals. Their bodies erupted with terrifying power as if ancient dragons were awakening. Boom! Boom! Their attack method was very simple. With a simple punch, the fist force shattered the void and a large number of foreign races were killed. The zombies were even more direct. They were not afraid of death. They ignored defense and attacked crazily. For a time, the archaic body cultivators gained the advantage. The foreign races attacked for a while and were beaten back. They retreated to the depths of the land of dusk. However, the archaic body cultivators did not dare to slack off. They sent people to guard them strictly. Sure enough, every few days, the foreign races attacked again. Moreover, their overall strength was stronger than before. Both sides fell into a fierce battle. After a period of fighting, the foreign races retreated. However, after a while, they would attack again. Lu Ming had been cultivating all this time. Previously, he used 2 months to successfully cultivate the first 3 levels of the 7 gods' arcane art. Then, he used another month to successfully break through to the early 4th level. Then, he used another month to cultivate the 7 gods' arcane art to the middle 4th level. At this point, Lu Ming had to stop cultivating. This was because he felt that his original accumulation had been used up. He had encountered a bottleneck and could not break through for the time being. He needed to polish for a period of time. Moreover, the energy of the drop of ancestral dragon blood had been refined by half. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes and let out a long breath. My strength is so strong. Lu Ming felt the power in his body and was extremely excited. This was the power of his physical body, pure physical strength. Lu Ming felt that his current physical strength was dozens of times stronger than before. Intermediate 4th level. My physical strength alone should be enough to fight against a 13th level true emperor. Lu Ming speculated. Don't look down on this kind of power. It was extremely terrifying, because this was purely the power of the physical body, and nothing else was added. In the past, although Lu Ming's physical strength was strong, it was still far from what it was now. At that time, Lu Ming's physical strength, world strength, and laws would be able to increase Lu Ming's strength. However, if he were to rely on the strength of his physical body alone, it would be impossible. At most, he would be on par with a low-level ethereal emperor. But now, Lu Ming was able to fight against a 13th level true emperor with just his physical strength alone. With the addition of the world strength and laws, Lu Ming's strength would reach an astonishing level, far surpassing the strength of an 18th level true emperor. Now that Lu Ming was facing an expert with the combat strength of a level 18 true emperor, he could completely crush the other party. Body cultivation, when combined with the law system, would burst forth with astonishing power. My defense and recovery ability has been greatly enhanced. Coupled with the indestructible ancient scripture, I wonder what kind of level it will reach. Lu Ming found it hard to imagine how powerful he would be if he were to go all out. Lu Ming, which realm have you cultivated the 7 divine mystic arts to? Hong Lu came over and asked. Intermediate 4th level. Lu Ming said. Heavens, intermediate 4th level so quickly. You're sick. I've been cultivating for dozens of years and I'm only at the intermediate 4th level. You're sick. Hong Lu wailed, as if he had suffered a blow. Lu Ming rubbed his nose, speechless. His rapid improvement was mainly due to his previous accumulation. His body had been tempered many times in the past and was already very strong. With the help of the lesser heaven mysterious arts and a drop of ancestral dragon blood, he was able to improve so quickly. His speed would slow down in the future. Moreover, cultivating the physical body required a large amount of natural resources, such as spiritual herbs, saint herbs, and emperor herbs. This time, he relied entirely on the energy of the ancestral dragon blood. He didn't need any herbs. By the way, where are the other seniors? Lu Ming looked around and asked. They've gone to war with the foreign races. Their attacks have become more frequent in the past 2 months. Many of our people have died in battle. Speaking up to this point, Hong Lu's complexion turned awful. The foreign races have already attacked? Lu Ming's expression turned grave. We can't go on like this. The foreign races are too strong, and their numbers are endless. It's not that I'm underestimating the strength of the primordial body cultivator lineage, but if this continues, we won't be able to hold on. Ren Chan said. Then what should we do? Hong Lu was also a little anxious. Let's go to the front line. I want to talk to the seniors. Lu Ming said. Alright, let's go. Hong Lu nodded. Immediately, the three of them headed for the exit of the pocket dimension. With their speed, it didn't take long for them to arrive near the exit of the pocket dimension. There were many temporary buildings near the exit of the pocket dimension. A large number of primordial body cultivator experts were stationed there. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, it was obvious that there had just been a huge battle outside. Many people had just retreated from outside. In a huge stone hall, a few supreme elders and more than 20 elders of the primordial body cultivator lineage were discussing something. However, their expressions were grave, and their brows were tightly furrowed. The atmosphere in the stone hall was very oppressive. At this moment, someone reported that Hong Lu and Lu Ming were requesting an audience. Let them in. At the very top, a supreme elder spoke. The supreme elders of the primordial body cultivator lineage were all heavenly emperor realm powerhouses. A while later, Lu Ming, Ren Chan, and Hong Lu walked in. Numerous gazes fell on Lu Ming in unison. Kid, what realm did you cultivate the seven gods' profound art to? An old man asked curiously. Middle stage fourth layer. Lu Ming answered truthfully. Middle stage fourth layer. These old men in the stone hall, and some middle-aged men, each and every one of them opened their eyes wide. They knew when Lu Ming started cultivating. In just a few months' time, Lu Ming actually cultivated the seven gods' profound art to the mid-stage fourth layer. Chapter 2309. Hong Lu was the most outstanding prodigy of the Archean body cultivators, but he had only reached the mid-fourth level after a few decades. Lu Ming, on the other hand, had only taken him a few months. Good, a peerless genius, a peerless genius. The elders sighed. After a while, they calmed down. Why did you come to us? One of the supreme elders asked with a smile. Seniors, now that the foreign races have set their eyes on this place, they will definitely not let this place go. If this continues, the war will be very disadvantageous. Lu Ming said. We know that too. What do you think? One of the supreme elders asked. Let's rush out and leave this place. Otherwise, this place will be breached sooner or later. At that time, no one will be spared. Lu Ming said and directly expressed his thoughts. Leave this place. In the stone hall, everyone's expression changed. Our Archean body cultivator lineage has been living in seclusion since the ancient times after our defeat. We have lived here for countless years and have already taken root here. You want us to abandon this place? A burly man said. The others fell silent. Indeed, their lineage had lived here for countless years. Who would be willing to abandon it just like that? Seniors, it's not that I look down on the strength of the body cultivator lineage, but the foreign races are too strong. The ones outside are only a small part of them. In the ancient times, the celestial realm was incomparably prosperous. Experts gathered and invincible experts roamed the world, but in the end, it was still breached. Countless experts died in battle. Only the Taiching celestial realm was left in the nine heavens realm, barely holding on. If the foreign races transferred some of their experts from the battlefield in the Taiching celestial realm, they definitely won't be able to hold on. Lu Ming advised. The people of the Archean body cultivator lineage had solemn expressions as they pondered seriously. They also understood that Lu Ming was right. Their lineage was only one of the Archean body cultivator lineages. Their strength was far from being comparable to the Archean body cultivator lineage in the prime of the ancient times. However, the body cultivator lineage in the prime of the Archean era was still defeated by the law system. Later on, after many years of development, the system of laws flourished to the extreme, but it was still broken through by the other races. It was clear how powerful the other races were, and how they could not withstand them. There's actually another exit in this small world. If you want to retreat, you can retreat from the other exit. After a long time, a Supreme Elder spoke with a voice filled with helplessness. There is another exit? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. In that case, it would be much better than rushing out. Everyone, tell me, are we going to retreat or not? The Supreme Elder who had spoken earlier turned to look at the others. I agree to retreat. I agree too. Our lineage can't end here. I agree. The remaining elders and grand elders all expressed their willingness to retreat. Only a few people remained silent, unwilling to accept this. I have a question. With such a large population in our small world, how are we going to bring them out when we retreat? One of them asked. That's easy. True emperors of our law system can create small worlds. Even a one-star true emperor can create a small world with a circumference of 100,000 miles. It's enough to bring everyone out. Ren Chan said. Then where should we go after we retreat? A burly man asked. To the Grand Pure Heaven Domain. A Supreme Elder answered. The Grand Pure Heaven Domain? This time, not only were many Archean body cultivator elders stunned, but even Lu Ming and Ren Chan were stunned. Could there be a way to reach the Grand Pure Heaven Domain from the Myriad Spirit Heaven Domain? If there was, why hadn't the other races discovered it after so many years? How can we go to the Grand Pure Heaven Domain? The eyes of many elders lit up. It would be best if they could go to the Grand Pure Heaven Domain. There's an ancient book in our body cultivator lineage that says that we can reach the passage between the Grand Pure Heaven Domain and the Hunyuan Heaven Domain from the yellow springs of the Nine Nether Heaven Domain. According to little brother Lu Ming, the passage between the Grand Pure Heaven Domain and the Hunyuan Heaven Domain has become a battlefield. As long as we reach there, we can enter the Two-World City and the Grand Pure Heaven Domain. Another Supreme Elder also spoke. Doesn't that mean we have to go to the Nine Nether Heaven Domain first? Someone asked. That's the only way now. A Supreme Elder said. Seniors, it's completely feasible. The Nine Nether Heaven Domain and the Wanling Heaven Domain are connected by a passage. As long as we charge through the passage and enter the Nine Nether Heaven Domain, we can reach the Yellow Springs and then the Grand Pure Heaven Domain. Moreover, the energy that the other races cultivate is different from ours. Although they can absorb origin chi to cultivate in the heavenly domain, it's very slow and inefficient. Therefore, other than the battlefield in the Grand Pure Heaven Domain, although the other heavens have been occupied by the other races, there aren't many of them. Seniors, with your strength, you can definitely kill your way to the Yellow Springs. Ren Chan said. His words made everyone's eyes light up. Alright, let's do that. First, I'll have to trouble you to put everyone below the Martial Emperor realm into the small world and then retreat. A Supreme Elder announced and gave the order. Immediately, everyone got to work. Those who cultivated the law system began to move. They put everyone in the small world into the small world, leaving those above the Martial Emperor realm outside. After so many years of development, the population of the primordial body cultivator lineage had already reached tens of billions of people. However, this was not a problem at all. A small world of a one-star true emperor was 100,000 miles wide. A martial emperor's small world was 1,000,000 miles wide. It was a piece of cake to take in tens of billions of people. After a few days, all the people and resources in the small world were put away. At this time, they began to retreat. However, they still left some people behind to guard the exit and control the zombies to fight against the other races. There was no other way. Someone had to stay behind or the other races would discover them. Those who stayed behind would die without a doubt. Those above the Martial Emperor realm led a group of powerful zombies to the other side of the small world. There was another exit there. They went through this exit and came out of the land of dusk. Then, they quickly flew toward the passage to the 9 Nether Heaven domain. However, they still encountered the other races along the way. Even though they were easily killed by the body cultivators of the Archean era, they weren't strong enough. However, some of them still managed to spread the news before they died. When the other races in the land of dusk received the news, they were immediately enraged and launched a fierce attack toward the depths of the land of dusk. The immemorial physique cultivators who stayed behind were naturally no match for them and were all killed in the end. When the other races rushed into the small world of the immemorial physique cultivators and found that it was empty, they were furious and ordered all the other races in myriad spirit heaven to encircle the immemorial physique cultivators. Chapter 23:10. Lu Ming and the others were very fast. Coupled with some powerful archaic body cultivators, they were very powerful. Although they encountered obstructions from other races, the hastily gathered outsiders were no match for them and were easily killed. A few days later, they arrived at the passage between the Myriad Spirit Heaven and 9 Netherworld Heaven. The passage here was very similar to the one between the Grand Pure Heaven and Hunyuan Heaven. It was very wide. However, there weren't many outsiders guarding it. Apart from the Grand Pure Heaven, the other 8 heavens were under the control of the outsiders. They naturally didn't need to leave too many people to guard the passages. They didn't encounter any obstructions. They broke through the passage and rushed towards 9 Netherworld Heaven. 9 Netherworld Heaven was the legendary Nether Underworld Kingdom. It was filled with Nether Chi and was an extremely powerful heaven in the ancient era. The Nether Underworld Kingdom was famous in the Heaven domain and had countless experts. Later, it was invaded by the outsiders and suffered heavy casualties. The legendary Yellow Springs and Bridge of Helplessness were both in 9 Netherworld Heaven. Lu Ming had seen the Yellow Springs Bridge of Helplessness when he entered the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. It was built by the 9 Lives demonic silkworm based on the Yellow Springs Bridge of Helplessness in 9 Netherworld Heaven. There were many ancient books among the archaic body cultivators that recorded many secrets. There were also records of 9 Netherworld Heaven's territories. After entering 9 Netherworld Heaven, they rushed towards the Yellow Springs. Along the way, they encountered some outsiders, but they were easily defeated. 9 Netherworld Heaven was very wide. Although it wasn't as large as the Grand Pure Heaven domain, it wasn't much different. After flying for several days, they saw a large river running across the land. The river was so wide that they couldn't see the other side. The water in the river was yellow and sticky, and filled with a disgusting stench. This was the Yellow Springs. Legend had it that the water of the Yellow Springs had terrifying corrosive, devouring, and cursing powers. Once one fell into the Yellow Springs, only death would await. It was said that even heavenly emperors would be in danger if they fell into the Yellow Springs. No one knew how long the Yellow Springs were. It was true that no one knew. No one knew where the source was, and no one knew where it flowed to. This was because someone had followed the Yellow Spring all the way and eventually discovered that it flowed into the eternal void. Following the void, it would pass through the passage between the Taiching Heaven domain and the Hunyuan Heaven domain, which was the current battlefield. This was their hope. They wanted to follow the Yellow Springs and move forward. Kill. Beside the Yellow Springs, there was actually a dense crowd of outsiders gathered. At this moment, they were charging towards them. Not good, it seems like the outsiders have guessed that we're coming to the Yellow Springs and have gathered a large number of experts here. Someone's expression changed. Attack from the other side. A grand elder of the primordial body cultivators shouted, and everyone rushed in another direction. However, not long after, a large number of outsiders also charged over from that direction. Charge! A grand elder roared, and everyone rushed over. They were already at the edge of the Yellow Springs. Only by rushing over would they have hope. The experts from both sides clashed fiercely. On Lu Ming's side, those who were below the martial emperor level were all kept in the small world. Those who remained outside were all martial emperors and above. With some of the strongest body cultivator prime elders as the vanguard, they charged into the outsider army like a sharp blade. Puff! 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 Countless non-humankind beings were killed and blasted apart. However, there were also experts among the outsiders. There were even heavenly emperors among them. Heavenly emperors were too terrifying. One attack from them was enough to destroy heaven and earth. Lu Ming's vanguard was immediately hindered, and their speed slowed down. Behind them, a large number of outsiders rushed over. Both sides were engaged in a bloody battle. Kill! Lu Ming roared, and he went into a frenzy. 9 types of laws covered Lu Ming's body. At the same time, Lu Ming activated his indestructible golden body. The indestructible golden body combined with Lu Ming's current physical strength to unleash boundless power. Lu Ming did not care about defense at all. Like a beast of war, he rushed into the crowd of outsiders and continuously punched with both fists. Every time he punched, at least a few members of the alien race would explode. As long as they were not martial emperors, regardless of their combat strength, they would be instantly killed by Lu Ming. This was the case even for 18th level true emperors. Right now, Lu Ming was truly invincible among true emperors. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming had lost count of the number of outsiders he had killed. His body was bathed in their blood. Slowly, they broke through the defenses of the outsiders and reached the shore of Yellow Spring. Bring out the heaven-piercing warship! A supreme elder shouted. At the same time, he waved his hand and a warship flew out, floating above Yellow Spring. You guys control the ancestral battle physiques to defend against the outsiders. We will activate the heaven-piercing warship. A voice reverberated in all directions. Boom! Next, the Supreme Elder's body rumbled. A stream of blood rushed out and entered the heaven-piercing warship. Buzz! The heaven-piercing warship trembled and emitted a terrifying aura. At the same time, it rapidly grew in size. Without a powerful treasure, it was impossible to escape from the Yellow Springs. Once a person touched the water of Yellow Spring, only death awaited. Even a heavenly emperor would be in danger. Only by relying on the ancestral treasure of the primordial physique cultivators, the heaven-piercing warship, could one enter Yellow Spring and travel to the eternal void. Boom! Boom! Following that, a few more supreme elders of the primordial physique cultivators activated their blood chi and poured it into the heaven-piercing warship. The heaven-piercing warship trembled more and more violently. Its entire body glowed and rapidly grew in size. Stop them! Kill! Kill! The outsiders roared. More outsiders rushed over from all directions. In particular, there were 5 or 6 outsiders who were shockingly powerful. They were all heavenly emperors. They walked through the air, releasing terrifying fluctuations. A single move blasted out, causing heaven and earth to collapse. They were powerful to an unimaginable degree. Stop them! Some of the elders of the primordial physique cultivators roared. They were no match for them, so they could only rely on the zombies. They controlled the zombies to charge forward. Some of the zombies had the combat power of a heavenly emperor. They resisted the heavenly emperors of the outsiders. However, they were outnumbered. They were suppressed as soon as they clashed. Bang! Bang! Some of the heavenly emperor zombies were hit by the heavenly emperors and exploded in the air. However, they had no choice but to sacrifice the zombies to buy time for the Supreme Elders. Buzz. After a while, the heaven-piercing warship expanded to tens of thousands of meters in size and landed on the Yellow Spring River. Hurry up and board the heaven-piercing warship. We'll cover you. A Supreme Elder roared and rushed over to fight the heavenly emperors of the Outsiders. The other Supreme Elders also rushed over. As for the weaker ones, they rushed toward the heaven-piercing warship. Especially those of the law system. Because there was a large population in their small worlds, the primordial physique cultivators protected them and let them board the heaven-piercing warship first. Lu Ming, Ren Chan, and the others also boarded the warship. Chapter 23:11. Retreat. The primordial body cultivator Grand Elders retreated as they fought. Don't let them go, stop them. A foreign race heavenly emperor roared, his eyes emitting beams of destructive light, incomparably terrifying, blasting towards the body cultivator Grand Elders. The other foreign race heavenly emperors also launched fierce attacks. For a time, the body cultivator Grand Elders could not retreat to the ancient battleship. Among the primordial body cultivators, there was an old man, a peerless powerhouse, his combat power frighteningly high. Unfortunately, there was also such a powerhouse among the foreign races, stopping him. In the end, they had no choice but to let several powerful zombies launch suicidal attacks, only then did they temporarily delay the other party. Several Grand Elders seized the opportunity and rushed onto the heaven-piercing battleship. Roar! Roar! However, several powerful zombies were stopped by the other party, being besieged. Their indestructible physical bodies were torn apart by the other party. Go! The heaven-piercing battleship rumbled, speeding towards the depths of the Yellow Spring. Stay! A total of 6 or 7 foreign races chased over, all of them heavenly emperor realm existences. They did not give up, erupting with terrifying attacks, wanting to destroy the heaven-piercing battleship, and bury all of them in the Yellow Spring. However, the body cultivator Grand Elders joined forces and blocked the other party's attacks. Moreover, one of the strongest Grand Elders punched through space, blasting a heavenly emperor realm foreign race until he vomited large mouthfuls of blood, his body retreating wildly, falling towards the Yellow Spring River. Splash! The Yellow Spring River's waves rolled up, and a wave just happened to hit the foreign race heavenly emperor's body. That heavenly emperor screamed miserably, his body scurrying about in the sky, his originally burly body shriveled up rapidly. In the end, that heavenly emperor blocked the corrosion of the Yellow Spring water, but his aura withered, almost dying. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. The Yellow Spring water was indeed terrifying. Even a heavenly emperor realm powerhouse would be severely injured when hit by the Yellow Spring water waves. Just what was the origin of this Yellow Spring water? How was it formed? It was also too terrifying, right? Heavenly emperors were standing at the pinnacle of this world. Although that foreign race heavenly emperor might just be an ordinary heavenly emperor, but some Yellow Spring water could seriously injure him, it was too shocking. The other foreign race heavenly emperors all revealed a look of dread, not daring to pursue. If he was blasted into the Yellow Springs River, the consequences would be unpredictable. Just being hit by the waves, a heavenly emperor was severely injured. If he directly fell into the Yellow Springs River, wouldn't it be a dead end? The outsiders could only watch as the Heavenspan battleship sailed into the depths of the Yellow Springs. Everyone let out a long sigh of relief. Finally, they got rid of the non-humankind beings. At the same time, they were secretly surprised. They didn't know what material the heaven-piercing battleship was made of, but it could sail on the Yellow Springs River without being damaged by the water. A Grand Elder of the archaic body cultivators had told him that the heaven-piercing battleship had been found by the ancestors of the archaic body cultivators in an ancient ruin. Everyone could only let their imaginations run wild. Just what kind of ruins could lead to a treasure like the heaven-piercing battleship? The heaven-connecting battleship was huge. It sailed in the Yellow Springs River, following the flow of the river. It was unknown where it would end up. Everyone could only wait patiently. A month later, the heaven-piercing battleship had traveled a long distance. Up ahead, there was nothing but emptiness. They had already reached the border of the 9 nether heaven. However, the Yellow Springs River didn't end. Instead, it flowed directly into the emptiness. A river that wasn't on the ground, but instead flowed into the emptiness. It was truly shocking. Everyone stared blankly at the river, somewhat dazed. They couldn't help but marvel at the wonders of the world. The heaven-piercing battleship sailed along the Yellow Springs River into the emptiness. They looked around and found that they were surrounded by a dark void. The Yellow Springs River was like a passageway that led to an unknown destination. At this point, all the Grand Elders were in high spirits. According to the ancient records, the Yellow Springs River would pass through the battlefield between the Taiching Heaven Domain and the Hunyuan Heaven Domain. They had to concentrate and seize a fleeting opportunity to rush out. Time passed day by day. They didn't know how far they had traveled in the dark. It was silent, as if it was eternal. "Look, what's that?" Someone suddenly exclaimed and looked ahead in surprise. The others also looked over. "That's..." At one glance, Lu Ming was taken aback. His eyes widened involuntarily. In front of the Yellow Springs River, an unknown distance away, was a huge mountain. The mountain loomed in front of them, but no one could be mistaken. It was really a huge mountain. A huge mountain actually appeared on the Yellow Springs River. "I've never heard of it before," an elder exclaimed. He was a Grand Elder of the Body Cultivation sect, but he had never heard of such a thing. There was no such thing in the rumors about the Yellow Springs River in the past. There was a huge mountain on the Yellow Springs River. The heaven-piercing battleship kept moving forward, but the huge mountain still hovered in front of them. It didn't seem to be closing the distance at all. Could that be the end of the Yellow Springs? Someone muttered to himself. The others were shocked. The end of the Yellow Springs was a huge mountain. This sounded really inconceivable. "We're here. Attack!" A Grand Elder roared. His blood surged as he threw a punch at the space to his right. The power of this punch was shockingly strong. When the punch was thrown out, the space exploded continuously as if it was made of paper. At the same time, the other Supreme Elders also made their moves, continuously blasting in that direction. With so many experts attacking at the same time, the power was terrifying. The space was completely torn apart, allowing them to see the situation outside. Outside was a land of deathly stillness. "Battlefield, it's that battlefield." Lu Ming was overjoyed. He could tell that it was the battlefield between the Taiching Heavenly Domain and the Hunyuan Heavenly Domain. The Yellow Springs River would indeed pass by the battlefield between the Taiching and Hunyuan Heavenly Domains. The space between here and the battlefield was very thin, and several Grand Elders had forcibly blasted it apart. "Let's go." A Grand Elder piloted the heaven-piercing battleship towards the spatial gap. The spatial gap was closing on its own. The other Grand Elders continued to bombard the battleship to open the spatial gap. Rumble. The heaven-piercing battleship successfully left the Yellow Springs River and charged towards the spatial gap. Soon after, the heaven-piercing battleship rushed out of the spatial gap with a rumble and landed on a piece of land, kicking up a cloud of dust. "We're back." Lu Ming carefully sensed his surroundings, and his face lit up with joy. This was definitely the battlefield. After taking a big detour, Lu Ming had returned to the battlefield again, and he had brought back a large group of experts. With the addition of this group of body cultivators, 2 world cities' strength would increase significantly. Little brother Lu Ming will follow you from now on. Chapter 23:12. Everyone's gaze was on Lu Ming. None of them had been to the Grand Pure Sky domain or the battlefield before. Naturally, they had to rely on Lu Ming. "Seniors, please follow me." Lu Ming identified the direction and headed toward the Two-World City. The others followed Lu Ming. The battlefield they were in was not the Void Emperor battlefield, the True Emperor battlefield, or the Great Emperor battlefield. It was just an ordinary battlefield. The auras of the large group were too powerful. They charged through the void with shocking power. Along the way, when the foreign races encountered them, their expressions changed drastically. They turned around and ran, but they were killed by the archaic physique cultivators with a single punch. They encountered several waves of foreign races, but they were all killed by the archaic physique cultivators. Now, the archaic physique cultivators were furious. They had lost their homes and ancestral lands because of the foreign races. Naturally, they were furious. Not long after, the Two-World City finally appeared in front of them. Dong! Dong! When Lu Ming and the others approached the Two-World City, the deafening sound of war drums could be heard. On the city walls, light shone and figures appeared one after another. Obviously, the experts on the Two-World City had noticed them. However, there were too many of them and many of their auras were too strong. Naturally, the Two-World City was alerted. "Everyone, we're on the same side. We're from the heavenly realm." Someone shouted. "Who are you?" A voice came from the Two-World City. At that moment, the people on the Two-World City were also very surprised. Although there were many heavenly realm beings on the battlefield outside the Two-World City, there were not so many of them. Moreover, some of their auras were shockingly strong. Moreover, they were unfamiliar and had never seen them before. That was shocking. "Everyone, I'm Lu Ming." At that moment, Lu Ming walked out and said loudly. "What? Lu Ming?" The people on the Two-World City were obviously shocked. "Isn't Lu Ming dead? He's here again. Could it be that he's not dead and the rumors are wrong? Then who are those people beside him?" For a moment, there was a lot of discussion on the Two-World City. "Everyone, these are our people. Open the formation and let us in," Lu Ming shouted. "Lu Ming, it's fine for you to come in, but we need to report the others. We can't afford to let so many experts into the city rashly. If something happens, we won't be able to bear the consequences." A tall and sturdy man spoke. "I'll take responsibility." At this moment, a voice came from Two-World City. As soon as the voice was heard, a few figures appeared on top of Two-World City. The one in the lead was precisely Heavenly Emperor Hangyu. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu looked at Lu Ming with a look of great joy on his face. "They are all humans or divine beasts from the heaven realm. They are definitely not from a foreign race. Open the formation and let them in." Celestial the Archhangyu said. "Yes." The others obeyed. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu was a heavenly emperor. Moreover, he was not an ordinary heavenly emperor. His battle prowess was extremely strong, second only to heavenly venerables. When he spoke, no one dared to disobey. Not long after, the light barrier outside Two-Realm City rippled, and a huge gap appeared. "Go in." Lu Ming took the lead and rushed in. The others followed and rushed in one after another. Not long after, everyone entered Two-World City. The light barrier outside Two-World City closed up again. "Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, I knew that you were fine. Back then, there were rumors that you died, but I didn't believe it at all." Heavenly Emperor Hangyu walked over and laughed loudly, very happy. Following that, his gaze looked at the primordial body cultivators, Ren Chan, and the rest, and asked, "Lu Ming, who are they?" Heavenly Emperor Hangyu was very shocked in his heart. Because some of them made his heart palpitate, having a powerful pressure. And these people, he had never seen them before at all. This made him rather shocked and curious. They are from the myriad spirit sky region. These are the primordial body cultivator lineage. Lu Ming gave a simple introduction. At the same time, he briefly recounted his experience. Primordial body cultivator lineage. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu's pupils constricted sharply a few times. Then, he cupped his fists at the primordial body cultivator grand elders and said, "I'm Heng Yu. Greetings, fellow Taoists. You're too polite." The old man of the primordial body cultivator also nodded politely. "Lu Ming, I really didn't expect that. Back then, there were rumors that you had fallen. I didn't expect that you actually ran to the myriad spirit sky region. It's really strange." Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu sighed. "Senior Heng Yu, were the people who said that I had fallen from the Lan and Yen family?" Lu Ming asked, a trace of cold light flashing in his eyes. "That's right. They also said that you were the one who killed the fellow Taoists of the heavenly realm to seek treasures. They bumped into you and wanted to take you down, but accidentally rushed into a broken small world. In the end, that small world collapsed." Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. The Lan and Yen families are really shameless. They clearly wanted to kill me and seize my indestructible ancient scripture. The people of the heavenly realm were also killed by them and they framed it on me." Lu Ming's voice was very cold. When he thought of Bai Tai dying because of him, Lu Ming was filled with murderous intent. "I knew it. As expected, the Lan and Yen families are very good." Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu was furious after hearing that. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. "Since I've returned this time, I must take revenge. I'll go to the Lan and Yen families now." Lu Ming said coldly. Even if it was not for other reasons, he must avenge Bai Tai. He would not let any of those who killed him go. "Lu Ming, the Lan and Yen families are not in the two-world city now." Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. "Not in the two-world city?" Lu Ming was puzzled. "That's right. The Lan and Yen families' headquarters are not in the two-world city, but in the central region of the Grand Pure Sky domain. The two-world city is only their base. In the past 2 years, the foreign races have stopped attacking, so there are fewer battles. Therefore, some of the experts of the Lan and Yen families are not there. In addition, the Lan family's genius, Lan Xia, is about to marry Xianyuan Yi and hold a big banquet. Countless experts are gathered in the central region of the Grand Pure Sky domain." Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu explained. Lan Xia and Xianyuan Yi are 2 of the 9 absolutes. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He had heard of these 2 names before. They were 2 of the 9 absolutes of the younger generation in the heaven domain. They were peerless geniuses. Especially Xianyuan Yi, who was ranked 2nd among the 9 absolutes. Many people said that he had the chance to become the first of the 9 absolutes and stand at the peak of the younger generation in the Tian Yuan domain. Lan Xia is the genius of the Lan family. She's Blue Cloud's sister. This time, her marriage with Xianyuan Yi is a strong alliance and has attracted everyone's attention. I heard that the Lan family has invited most of the heaven domain's geniuses. There will be a grand banquet. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. "When is their wedding day?" Lu Ming asked. Chapter 23:13. Half a month later? Just nice, I'll make a trip. The price that the Lan family and the Yen family have to pay will eventually have to be paid. Lu Ming muttered, his voice getting colder and colder. Lu Ming, don't act rashly. The Lan family is definitely not something ordinary factions can compare to. The Lan family is an extremely ancient family with deep foundations and experts as common as clouds. Not only is there only one heavenly emperor in Lan City, it is said that the Lan family also has an old ancestor who is a peerless 4-star Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouse. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said with a somewhat solemn expression. But Lu Ming's eyes were firm, unmoved. In addition, the Lan family has existed for countless years and is on good terms with many major factions. For example, the Yen family. The Yen family is just an ordinary powerful faction with a heavenly emperor holding down the fort. They have a marriage alliance with the Lan family. The two families are very close. In addition, there are also many factions similar to the Yen family who are on good terms with the Lan family. This time, they will all rush over. If you go over rashly, I'm afraid you will suffer a great loss. Therefore, if you want to go, you must be careful. If you really want to go, I'll accompany you. However, the other heavenly emperors of the primordial realm have to guard Two World City. I'm afraid they can't leave. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu explained the Lan family's power structure and general strength to Lu Ming. However, seeing Lu Ming's firm gaze, he knew that Lu Ming had already made up his mind, so he agreed to accompany Lu Ming. Many thanks, Senior Heng Yu. Lu Ming thanked him and said, if I want to go, I naturally have to be confident. Finished speaking, he walked towards the primordial body cultivator grand elders and said with cupped fists, Seniors, this junior has something that I would like to ask the seniors for help with. If there's anything that you need us old bones for, just say the word. An old man laughed, very forthright. I would like to invite the seniors to follow me to a place. Lu Ming told them about going to the Lan family. No problem. The grand elders of the Archean body cultivators all agreed. Ever since Lu Ming had displayed his exceptional talent in body cultivation, they had regarded Lu Ming with great importance. Moreover, it was all thanks to Lu Ming that they were able to enter the Two Realm City. Since Lu Ming was in trouble, they naturally had to help. Heavenly Ruler Heng Yu also smiled. He knew very well that these old men were very scary. With their help, their chances of success would be much higher. Lu Ming, let me arrange a place for them to stay first. Celestial Emperor Heng Yu said. Senior Heng Yu, is there a spacious place with no one around? This time, quite a number of body cultivators have come. They are all in our small world. Lu Ming said. Oh, how many people? Celestial Emperor Heng Yu asked. About 30 billion people. Lu Ming said. Oh, only 30 billion? That's easy. Not far from Two Realm City, there's a vast and uninhabited mountain range. It's enough for them to live there. Heavenly Ruler Heng Yu thought for a moment and thought of a place. 30 billion people seemed to be a lot, but it was just a drop in the ocean compared to the vast and boundless territory of the Grand Pure Sky Domain. The population of the Grand Pure Sky Domain was simply uncountable. Any small territory had more than tens of billions of people. Not long after, they set off and arrived at a vast and boundless mountain range. This mountain range spanned millions of miles. It could easily accommodate 30 billion people. Immediately, Lu Ming and the rest had people from small worlds. With a thought, a large number of people appeared in this mountain range. Following that, some primordial body cultivator powerhouses went up to make arrangements. Everyone chopped wood, moved stone, and repaired houses. Most primordial body cultivators were incomparably strong. Doing these things was simply too easy. They believed that in less than a few days, they would be able to completely settle down here. Ren Chan and the rest also chose a place and settled down. Their eyes were filled with sadness. Their small world had a large population to begin with, but now, not many of them had come together. Many of them had died in battle. Especially some of the top experts, they did not come here. Lu Ming discussed with Heavenly Ruler Heng Yu they all, planning to go to the Lan family after a few more days. It would not be too late. Lu Ming returned to Two World City and met with Mulans. Seeing Lu Ming, Mullins was naturally overjoyed. The two people caught up for a while. Lu Ming returned to his residence, planning on having a good rest. I wonder if I can contact the Chaos Hall now. Lu Ming thought of the Chaos Hall again. Thinking up to here, Lu Ming took out the Chaos Essence token. He did not expect that the moment he tried this time, the Chaos Essence token actually had activity. Lu Ming was overjoyed and poured world power into it. Buzz! The Chaos Essence token started vibrating. Then, a light pillar appeared, enveloping Lu Ming inside. Following that, Lu Ming's figure disappeared from where he was. Lu Ming seemed to be traveling through the void. That feeling was like taking a super long-distance teleportation formation. Not long after, Lu Ming came to a large hall. It was the Chaos Hall. The moment Lu Ming appeared, light flashed in the Chaos Hall. There were a total of 9 figures, emitting different colors from their bodies. 2E, Gold E, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Greetings, young master. 2E, Gold E, and the rest bowed to Lu Ming. Seniors, there's no need to be so polite. Lu Ming hurriedly waved his hand. Young master has already defeated the son of primal chaos, Yuan Xian. Moreover, you have broken through to the Emperor realm using many different types of laws, and have even mastered many different types of supreme laws. Such talent is unprecedented. From now on, you will be the master of Primal Chaos Palace, and also our young master. 2E said with a serious face. You have heard of me? Lu Ming asked curiously. Of course, the Chaos Hall is in the Taiqing Celestial Domain. Young master's name has spread throughout the Taiqing Celestial Domain. Of course we have heard of you. 2E said with a smile. The Chaos Hall is in the Taiqing Celestial Domain? Then why couldn't I contact you before? Lu Ming asked curiously. It was not difficult to guess that the Chaos Hall was in the Taiqing Celestial Domain. Back then, he could directly enter the Chaos Hall from Yuanlu. It was not difficult to guess that the Chaos Hall was in the Taiqing Celestial Domain. That was because the Taiqing Celestial Domain was connected to Yuanlu. The Hunyuan sect was probably in the Taiqing Celestial Domain too. Lu Ming was curious why he could not contact 2E and the rest before, but now he could. Young master, there are 2 battlefields in the Taiqing Celestial Domain. The Chaos Hall is near one of the battlefields. More than 10 years ago, the foreign tribes suddenly invaded and a fierce battle broke out in that battlefield. We brought the Chaos Hall to join the battle and cut off the outside world. That's why you could not contact us. 2E explained. The other 8 nodded their heads in agreement. Lu Ming was enlightened. So that was the reason. Recently, the foreign tribes did not invade. Therefore, Lu Ming could contact 2E and the rest again. Seniors, I would like to ask about the Chaos Scripture, Lu Ming asked. The Chaos Scripture in his hand seemed to be incomplete. Young master, the Chaos Scripture in your hand is indeed incomplete. It only has the part before you became a martial emperor. The part after you became a martial emperor was supposed to be given to you after you became a martial emperor. Now that you have become a martial emperor and reached the true martial emperor level, it is natural that you have it. Young master, please follow me. Chapter 23:14. In the secret chamber, there was a figure sitting cross-legged in the air. It was the figure of the Chaos Emperor. As soon as Lu Ming entered, the figure turned into a ray of light and rushed into Lu Ming's glabella. Suddenly, a piece of information appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Chaos Scripture. Lu Ming whispered. This piece of information was the latter part of the Chaos Scripture. It recorded the deduction laws of the Chaos Scripture, a series of divine abilities, and the combination of various laws. Among them, the law of chaos was the main one. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and carefully comprehended it. The Chaos Scripture contains 18 types of laws, similar to the indestructible ancient scripture. Unfortunately, it's only based on one type of law of chaos, so it's not suitable for me. However, there are many things in it that I can learn from. Lu Ming pondered. The Chaos Scripture contained 18 types of laws. Among these 18 types of laws, Lu Ming only had 4 of them. In the future, if Lu Ming wanted to master more laws, he could use the Chaos Scripture to deduce other laws. That way, it would be faster than comprehending them alone. In addition, Lu Ming could also try to cultivate some of the divine abilities to increase Lu Ming's means of fighting against enemies. Of course, Lu Ming's main cultivation direction still depended on himself to comprehend and explore. After all, he had mastered many types of supreme laws. If he wanted to unleash the strongest power of these laws, he had to rely on himself to explore. After all, since ancient times, no one had mastered many types of supreme laws at the same time. A day later, Lu Ming stopped comprehending. He was not in a hurry now. When he had time in the future, he would choose a few divine abilities to cultivate. Lu Ming returned to the main hall. 2E and the other 8 were waiting there. 2E, what are your cultivation bases? Lu Ming asked curiously. The 9 of us belong to 9 different elements and are all in the Heavenly Emperor realm. 2E replied. Heavenly. Heavenly Emperor? Lu Ming began to nod subconsciously, but he immediately reacted and his mouth opened wide. He was dumbfounded. Earth 1, Gold 1, Wood 1, there was a total of 9 people and all of them were puppets. In the past, Lu Ming thought that 2E and the rest might be at the Heavenly Emperor realm or even peak Heavenly Emperors. However, he did not expect them to be at the Heavenly Emperor realm. 9 Heavenly Emperors, what kind of terrifying power was this? The Primal Chaos Palace was only one of the 9 great palaces of the Primal Chaos sect. Even if the Primal Chaos Emperor's strength was exceedingly high, the fact that there were 9 Heavenly Emperor realm puppets under him was enough to shock people. From this, it could be seen how amazing the strength of the Hunyuan sect was at its peak. Good, very good. Lu Ming was delighted. With the help of 2E and the others, he was like a tiger that had grown wings. Primal Chaos Palace, is there anyone else other than you? Lu Ming asked again. Yes, but they are all puppets. There are 1,000 of our 9 elements. Their names are from 1 to 1,000, from the Martial Emperor realm to the Heavenly Emperor realm. Di Dao. Lu Ming nodded. Previously, 2E had sent Tu Qian to follow him to the Divine Wilderness continent. Until now, Tu Qian was still guarding the Divine Wilderness continent. Seniors, I'll go back first. I have something that I need your help with. In a few days, I'll be going to the Lan family in the central region of the Taiching Sky Domain. Lu Ming told them about the Lan family and asked 2E and the others to help him. 2E and the others naturally agreed. Lu Ming was overjoyed. With 2E and the others' help, this time, he would definitely make the Lan family pay the price. Then, a force enveloped him. Not long after, Lu Ming returned to his original place. It seems like there's a formation similar to a teleportation formation on the Primal Chaos token. As long as it's activated, the teleportation formation on it will be activated. Lu Ming thought. In the next few days, Lu Ming did not cultivate and had a good rest. A few days later, Lu Ming, Heavenly the Archhengyu, and the 4 supreme elders of the primordial physique cultivators headed to the central region of the Taiching Sky Domain with Lu Ming. The Taiching Sky Domain was vast and boundless. It was not smaller than the entire Yuan continent and was roughly divided into 5 regions. East, South, West, North, and Central. The Lan family was in the central region. Heavenly the Archhengyu led Lu Ming. With the speed of a Heavenly the Arch, they arrived at Blue Moon City where the Lan family was located in a few hours. Blue Moon City was an ancient giant city that completely belonged to the Lan family. This was the headquarters of the Lan family. The Lan family had been here for countless years. During this period, Blue Moon City was unusually lively. It was simply a sea of people. The marriage of the Lan family's genius daughter to the second-ranked genius of the 9 Absolutes was a big event. Moreover, it was said that the Lan family had invited a large number of geniuses. Many people guessed that there would be a grand event and naturally came to watch the fun. Heavenly the Archheng and the others concealed their auras and walked into Blue Moon City like a few ordinary people. They found an inn and inquired about the news. This time, there are so many geniuses here. Most of the famous geniuses from the Heaven Domain and the Yuan realm are here. The Lan family actually has such great influence to be able to invite so many geniuses here? Someone raised a question. What do you know? There hasn't been a grand event in the Heaven Domain for a long time. Ever since the selection of the 9 Absolutes more than 10 years ago, some of the top geniuses haven't clashed with each other. This time, they can take advantage of this opportunity to compete with each other. Moreover, I heard that the Lan family has paid a huge price this time. If anyone can get first place this time, the Lan family will take out 100 Chaos Stones as a reward. What? 100 Chaos Stones? What a huge sum. Many people were shocked. The Lan family actually wanted to take out 100 Chaos Stones as a reward for the first place. This was definitely a huge sum. Back then, outside Two World City, Lu Ming had taken down the other party's prince in exchange for 100 Chaos Stones. The Lan family has really put in a lot of effort. Could it be that the Lan family wants to push Xianyuan Yi to the throne of first place? That's right. Xianyuan Yi is ambitious and has long wanted to challenge Lin Xiaofan and take the throne of first place. This time, Xianyuan Yi most likely wants to take advantage of this opportunity to defeat Lin Xiaofan. This way, the 100 Chaos Stones won't be wasted, and Xianyuan Yi's reputation will be pushed to the peak. The Lan family has a good plan, but aren't they afraid that Xianyuan Yi won't be able to defeat Lin Xiaofan and will be defeated by him? If that's the case, they'll suffer a double loss. Therefore, this time, there will most likely be a showdown between the top geniuses. That's why so many people have rushed over and attracted a large number of geniuses here. In the restaurant, many people were drinking and chatting loudly. Lu Ming and the others had received a lot of news. 100 Chaos Stones, we can't miss it. There was a glint in Lu Ming's eyes and he revealed a smile. It seemed that there would be additional rewards this time. Seniors, it seems that we don't have to rush to their door. Let's get the 100 Chaos Stones first. Lu Ming said with a smile. They drank for a while, then left the place and found a restaurant to stay. Time passed day by day. Soon, it was the day of Lan Xia and Xianyuan Yi's wedding. Chapter 23:15. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, when he used the divine breath technique, great emperors couldn't see through him at all. Even heavenly emperors could only see through Lu Ming's disguise, but they couldn't see through Lu Ming's true appearance. Lu Ming didn't plan to reveal his true body from the start. If Lu Ming revealed his true body from the start, the Lan family definitely wouldn't let him get the 100 Chaos Stones. He would change his identity first and get the Chaos Stones first. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu went first, followed by him and a few body cultivator grand elders. Not long after, Lu Ming and the others came to a square. This square was hundreds of miles long and wide, but at this time, the square was already filled with banquets. Many people were sitting casually at the banquets. Look, that's the prodigy area. There were people chatting on the side. Lu Ming looked over and found that there was an area north of the square where many young prodigies were sitting. Long Chen, Huang Ling, Desolate Force, and Bubbles, Lu Ming looked around and saw many familiar faces. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Other than Bubbles, he hadn't seen anyone else for many years. However, now wasn't the time to reminisce. It wouldn't be too late to reminisce after this matter. At the same time, Lu Ming also saw others. For example, Heng Xinghe, Yuanxin, Bao De, Xia Ku, Tian Ming, most of the top prodigies of the primordial realm were here. The others were all prodigies from the heaven realm. For example, those prodigies who followed Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin to the primordial realm during the Battle of the 10 Earths were also among them. At this time, Lu Ming realized that there were countless banquets in this square, and they were also divided into many different areas. The area where they were sitting was just an ordinary area. Lu Ming didn't care and waited quietly. Look, it's Xian Wulin of the 9 Absolutes. And Fu Lu, Wang Yi, suddenly, someone exclaimed. Lu Ming looked towards the sky. A few figures walked over in the air, full of arrogance. They looked down from above and glanced at the crowd, then landed in the area of the young prodigies. Among them, Lu Ming had seen a few before. Xian Wulin, the bald youth, Fu Lu, they were all prodigies of the 9 Absolutes. Their talents were amazing, and their future achievements were unimaginable. It's Lin Xiaofan is really here. Immediately after, there was an even louder uproar. The whole place was in an uproar. Almost everyone's eyes were looking at a young man in the sky. Lin Xiaofan was ranked first among the 9 Absolutes. In the past, he was the strongest genius in the heaven realm. He stood at the peak of countless geniuses and was invincible. He was also the opponent's. Lin Xiaofan, dressed in black and carrying a long saber on his back, landed in the area of the younger generation with a cold expression. Lin's brother. Many prodigies Lin's. T-Tess battle determine. T.S. More than a decade ago, the two had clashed and launched a peak battle. In the end, Lin S defeated Xianyuan Yi. Xianyuan Yi had always wanted to defeat Lin S to prove that he was the best in the world. This time, the Lan family had mobilized so many people and really took out 100 chaos stones to push Xianyuan Yi to the top. They were very confident. Therefore, many people wanted to know who would emerge victorious in this confrontation. The Yan family's celestial emperor has arrived. The Luo family's celestial emperor has arrived. The Boundless Palace's palace master has arrived. At this moment, voices spread throughout the place. Everyone quieted down. The celestial emperors. In the sky, one figure after another came. In the east, the Yan family's celestial emperor led the Yan family's experts here. In the west, the Luo family's celestial emperor led the Luo family's experts here. These celestial emperors and the experts who followed them descended in the northernmost area. That was the VIP area. Only those with noble status could sit there. These forces were all on good terms with the Lan family. For example, the Yan family and the Luo family were all related to the Lan family by marriage. After that, powerful forces continued to descend. Some forces even had celestial emperors descend. During this period of time, the foreign races retreated and did not attack. That was why these celestial emperors had time to come here. Ha ha ha, thank you for coming, I'm sorry for not coming out to meet you. At this moment, a loud laugh was heard. Then, a group of people flew over from the depths of Blue Moon City. The person in the lead was the Lan family's head, the celestial emperor powerhouse, Lan Cheng. Behind Lan Cheng followed a large number of Lan family powerhouses. Among them, Blue Cloud was among them. And beside Lan Cheng, a young man and woman followed, attracting the attention of many people. Because these two people were today's protagonists, two of the 9 Absolutes, Lan Xia and Xianyuan Yi. Brother Lan, congratulations congratulations to the Lan family for getting a son-in-law. The Yen family's celestial emperor and the others got up to congratulate, their faces full of smiles. Thank you. Everyone, please take a seat. Lan Cheng waved his hand. Today, my Lan family's prodigy, Lan Xia, is getting married to Xianyuan Yi. You don't have to be polite, eat and drink to your heart's content. Lan Cheng said with a smile. Immediately, countless people flew out and placed wine and dishes on all the tables. Then, it was time for the wedding ceremony. Everyone waited patiently. They all knew that after the ceremony, it would be the main event. Soon, the ceremony was over. Lan Cheng got up, faced everyone, and said, "This time, thank you for coming, especially the prodigies of the younger generation, most of them are here. Why don't we take this opportunity to exchange pointers with everyone, and let us old guys also see the glory of the younger generation, how about it?" "That's great. Since the battle more than 10 years ago, many prodigies have rarely fought, and have been cultivating hard. Today is a good time to see the results of their cultivation. Now is the golden age, prodigies have gathered, and now with the addition of the prodigies from the Yuan realm, the real stars are shining brightly." Many people nodded, revealing a look of anticipation. Those young prodigies also sized each other up, and a faint fighting spirit spread out. For example, Xianyuan Yi's gaze fell on Lin Xiaofan, and the powerful fighting spirit was not concealed. In his eyes, only one Lin Xiaofan was worthy of him fighting. This time, the Lan family will also offer some prizes. As a reward, the Lan family will offer 100 chaos stones as a reward to the person who comes in first place. No matter who wins first place, my Lan family will never go back on our words. Lan Cheng continued, and his voice spread throughout the entire venue. Lin Xiaofang's eyes were filled with a bright light. This time, he was here for 100 chaos stones. Who wouldn't be tempted by 100 chaos stones? However, the other prodigies sighed. They understood that they were destined to not be able to get the 100 chaos stones. With Lin Xiaofang and Xianyuan Yi around, it was impossible for them to get first place. Chapter 23:16. Everyone looked around with different thoughts in their minds. "Senior, what are the rules of this competition?" someone asked. "There are no rules. If any of you want to fight, you can come up here and challenge whoever you want to spar with. There are no rules. You are free to fight." Lan Cheng explained with a smile. He then waved his hand and a huge battle stage appeared in the middle of the square. There were no banquets in the middle of the square. It was obvious that it was for sparring. "Now, who will go up first?" Lan Cheng asked again. "Then let me throw a brick to attract the jade first." A voice sounded. Then, a young man in a white shirt rushed up to the battle stage. The young man looked at the younger generation area and said, "Fang Han, come up and fight. I'm not afraid of you." The person who was challenged shouted and rushed up to the battle stage. Without saying anything, the two of them fought fiercely. The two of them were just ordinary sky prides. They were not top sky prides because they had not mastered the strongest laws. The laws that they had mastered were kingly laws. Both of them were in the empty emperor realm. They exchanged blows and the battle was extremely intense. The two of them exchanged more than 100 blows. In the end, the young man in a white shirt who went up to the battle stage was more skilled and won. Next, the battles continued. However, those who fought at the beginning were all ordinary sky prides. The sky prides who had mastered the strongest laws did not fight. Not long after, Lu Ming saw Long Chen, Huang Li, Huang Ling and the rest challenging others. Long Chen, Huang Ling and the rest had not comprehended the strongest laws. They had only comprehended the kingly laws. After so many years, their strength had improved greatly. They had mastered 3 to 4 kingly laws and their cultivation had reached the level of a 4-star empty emperor. If one was not an innate firmament child, it would not be easy for one to comprehend the strongest law after advancing to martial emperor. The difficulty was extremely high. However, as long as Long Chen, Huang Ling and the rest had not become great emperors, they would have the chance to comprehend the strongest laws. Around the square, many big shots were drinking and chatting as they watched with interest. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. After 3 days, almost all the ordinary Sky Prides had fought. Finally, the Sky Prides who had mastered the strongest laws went up to fight. Many people immediately perked up and watched carefully. The battle between the top geniuses was undoubtedly more exciting. At the same level of cultivation, the combat power of the top geniuses was stronger than that of the ordinary geniuses. Lu Ming saw Blue Cloud, Yan Shi, and Stellar River make their moves. Their talents were definitely top-notch, and they all defeated their opponents one by one. This was especially true for Heng Xinghe. He had challenged several people consecutively and won every single one of them. However, Lu Ming did not make a move. His goal was 100 Chaos Gems. It was useless to make a move now. All he had to do was wait until the end. Boom! Suddenly, a tall and sturdy figure rushed onto the fighting ring. His entire body was pitch black, like an iron tower. Bao De. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. After so many years, Bao De had become many times stronger. The muscles all over his body were bulging, filled with explosive power. Physique cultivator. I didn't expect there to be a physique cultivator prodigy outside. Beside Lu Ming, several Archean body cultivators were immediately intrigued. They stared curiously at Bao De, sizing him up. Bao De was like a barbaric dragon. Finally, his gaze swept towards a grey-robed youth. "You, come up and fight." Bao De's voice reverberated throughout the entire arena. The grey-robed youth was the one who had followed Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin to the primordial realm. Moreover, he also cultivated the Archean cultivation system. Back then, the grey-robed youth had challenged Bao De, Xia Ku, and the ancient devil alone. He had easily defeated them. Bao De had always been brooding over this. Now that he had cultivated for so many years and his strength had increased greatly, he naturally wanted to challenge the other party and get back at them. Whoosh! The grey-robed youth rushed onto the fighting ring. "This time, I will defeat you alone." Bao De's eyes were filled with ferocity. He was like a giant beast, and his aura was extremely terrifying. "Make your move." The grey-robed youth spoke as a powerful aura erupted from his body. Boom! The two of them moved at the same time and collided fiercely. An earth-shattering explosion erupted on the fighting ring. Then, the two figures could not help but retreat continuously. The first move was a draw. Again. The two of them bombarded each other again. Many people were watching excitedly from all directions. Even some great emperors and heavenly emperors were watching seriously. This was because the two of them cultivated the Archean cultivation system. Bao De, an Archean physique cultivator. The grey-robed youth, an Archean martial artist. The two of them fought each other head-on. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. Over the years, Bao De was much stronger than before. He could actually fight with the grey-robed youth. It was difficult to determine the victor in a short period of time. One had to know that the grey-robed youth could easily defeat them in the past. This reminded Lu Ming of Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin's words. Some of the top geniuses in the Yuan realm were not weaker than the geniuses in the heavenly realm. However, due to limited resources, their cultivation was weaker, and their combat strength was far inferior to the geniuses in the heavenly realm. But now, the geniuses in the Yuan realm had received the resources of the heavenly realm. In terms of cultivation, they had quickly caught up. Now, they could truly fight with the geniuses in the heavenly realm. This black kid is not bad. Next to Lu Ming, an Archean physique cultivator elder spoke, revealing a look of interest. He is indeed not bad. The physique cultivation technique he cultivates is not very advanced, but he has such achievements. He is indeed a peerless genius in physique cultivation. If he is properly trained, his achievements will be limitless. Another old man also spoke. Obviously, these elders had a strong interest in Baoda. Roar! In the battle ring, Baoda roared. Like a mad beast, his attacks were wild. In the end, he even ignored his own defense and attacked crazily, adopting a method of fighting that would cause both sides to suffer. This made the gray-robed youth's expression solemn. In the end, after exchanging a few blows with Baoda, he floated back and left the battle ring. I'm not fighting anymore. I admit defeat. The gray-robed youth said, then returned to his seat. Ha ha ha. Baoda grinned and laughed wildly. Finally, his gaze swept over some of the other youths. He still wanted to fight. Baoda, that's enough. Now it's my turn. A voice rang out. Then, a figure rushed into the battle ring. It was Xia Ku. Baoda chuckled and left the battle ring. Then, Xia Ku challenged a genius from the heavenly realm. And he defeated his opponent. What are these people from the Yuan realm trying to do? Do they all want to challenge the geniuses from the heavenly realm? In the young genius area, a youth said coldly. The expressions of many geniuses from the heavenly realm changed slightly. Their eyes swept over the geniuses from the Yuan realm, such as Tian Ming, Yuan Xian, Bubbles, and the others. However, Tian Ming and Yuan Xian did not speak. Their eyes were fixed on the battle ring. Chapter 23:17. Next, the elder demon attacked and defeated another opponent. This made some of the geniuses from the heaven world look grim. Whoosh! Another figure rushed onto the fighting ring. Yuan Xin. Many people's eyes flickered, especially those who knew the inside story. In the primordial realm, Yuan Xian was the top genius, ranked third. Over the years, as the geniuses of the primordial realm continued to grow, their influence in the heaven world grew. Lu Ming had become an emperor with many different laws, which was unprecedented in history, shocking the heaven world. As for Tian Ming, Bubbles, and the others, their strength increased rapidly, and their reputation among the younger generation of the heaven world grew. Naturally, more people went to the top of the primordial realm, and the results of the Battle of 10 Earths were exposed, and many people knew about it. Yuan Xian was ranked third in the primordial realm back then, behind Lu Ming and Tian Ming. His talent was absolutely amazing, and even in the heaven world, he was the top. Some people even thought that he might be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with Jiu Ju in the future. Now, who was he going to challenge? Yuan Xian's gaze fell on Tian Ming. Tian Ming, come out and fight. Yuan Xian's voice sounded. Many people's eyes flickered, surprised. Many people thought that Yuan Xian would also challenge the geniuses of the heaven world, but he actually challenged Tian Ming. Back then, Yuan Xian was defeated by Tian Ming in the Battle of 10 Earths. He must want to challenge and defeat him. Indeed. Many people nodded. Tian Ming, dressed in white, was handsome and elegant, and attracted the attention of many young women. He stood up, took a step, and landed on the platform. Yuan Xian, you were no match for me back then, and now, you are even less of a match for me. Tian Ming faintly said, full of confidence in himself. Don't be so full of yourself. Today, I will defeat you and prove that I am stronger than you. It's a pity that Lu Ming is dead. Otherwise, would also defeat him and prove to everyone who is the top genius of the primordial realm. Yuan Xian said, his eyes flashing with a strong desire to fight. His ambition was higher than the sky, but he could only get third place in the Battle of 10 Earths. He was not satisfied, and wanted to regain the throne of the primordial realm. "Make your move," Tian Ming said lightly, his expression calm and indifferent, as if he did not take Yuan Xian's words to heart. Boom! Yuan Xian released a powerful aura. It was much stronger than when he fought Lu Ming in the Alcade ancient city. There were 4 different types of laws on his body that rushed toward Tian Ming. The 4 different types of laws, led by the law of primal chaos, formed a terrifying mystique. Boom! Yuan Xian punched out, and numerous chaos mountains came crashing down on Tian Ming. Dazzling white light emanated from Tian Ming's body. He pointed a finger and a beam of light shot toward the mountains. Boom! 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 Tianming's mountain crumbled and exploded one after another. Defeat! Then, Tianming took a step forward and pressed down with his finger. Boom! A terrifying pressure pressed down on Yuan Xian. At the same time, a dazzling radiance spread towards Yuan Xian like a stormy sea. This was also a terrifying divine ability. It was based on the laws of destiny, and when combined with other laws, it was shockingly powerful. Yuan Xian let out a roar as he unleashed his strength to the limit and attacked crazily. However, his attacks crumbled and disintegrated under the radiance of Tianming's finger. Finally, the radiance hit Yuan Xian. Yuan Xian's body shook violently as he spat out large mouthfuls of blood and was sent flying out of the arena. The scene suddenly fell silent. Many people looked at Tianming in shock, especially the geniuses from the Yuan realm. They were the most surprised. Tianming's strength was too terrifying. He had defeated Yuan Xian in just a few moves. Back in the Yuan realm's Battle of the 10 Lands, Tianming had to use many moves to defeat Yuan Xian. He even had to use his ultimate move to defeat him. But now, he had defeated Yuan Xian so easily. Clearly, Tianming's progress over the years had far surpassed Yuan Xian's. No, this is impossible. Standing in the air, Yuan Xian's face was blank. He could not accept all this. This time, he had wanted to defeat Tianming and prove to everyone that he was the number 1 in the primordial realm. However, in the end, he had suffered a crushing defeat. Furthermore, it had only been a few moves, and it had been an extremely miserable defeat. The difference in strength between him and Tianming was too great. Yuan Xian, you're too weak, Tianming said lightly. His words made Yuan Xian spit out another mouthful of blood as his body swayed. Then, Tianming no longer looked at him and swept his gaze over the other young geniuses. When Tianming's gaze swept over them, except for Jiu, the other young geniuses' expressions changed. From the way he attacked just now, Tianming's strength was simply unfathomable. No one knew what level he had reached. Who was he going to challenge next? Finally, Tianming's gaze fell on one of the young geniuses. Oh Yebing. He had always been known as the strongest Void Emperor among the younger generation of the Celestial Realm. Of course, ever since Lu Ming's rise, he was no longer the strongest Void Emperor. Back then, when Lu Ming became an emperor, he defeated him with one move. Was Tianming going to challenge Oh Yebing? Oh Yebing, come out and fight. As expected, Tianming's voice rang out. You overestimate yourself. Oh Yebing said coldly as he stepped out and appeared on the arena. A ray of sharpness flashed in his eyes with a trace of ferocity. Back then, he had suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of Lu Ming, and his reputation had been greatly reduced. Therefore, he didn't have a good impression of geniuses from the Yuan realm like Lu Ming. Now, Tianming wanted to challenge him again. He would teach him an unforgettable lesson. Bang! Tianming took a step forward, and his body erupted with an astonishing light that was incomparably dazzling. Then, he pointed a finger, and a dazzling light suppressed O Yebing. Divine Weapon Seal Art. O Yebing shouted as his hands quickly formed seals. A huge pagoda condensed and suppressed Tianming. Boom! The huge pagoda and the light from Tianming's finger collided, and a shocking explosion erupted. Then, the huge pagoda condensed by O Yebing shook violently, and it was covered with cracks. O Yebing's expression changed as his hands quickly formed seals. A vase appeared, and a large amount of sword qi spewed out of the vase. Then, a war blade appeared and slashed at Tianming. River of Destiny. At this time, Tianming used his ultimate move, the River of Destiny. He stood in the River of Destiny as if he was immortal and controlled destiny. Tianming's move was much, much stronger than it had been in the past. Back then, it was only a type of destiny law, but now, other laws were added, and its power was astonishing. Boom! 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 Tianming and O Yebing were engaged in an intense battle. Chapter 23:18. In the blink of an eye, Tianming and O Yebing had exchanged dozens of blows. At this time, Tianming actually began to gain the upper hand. Tianming's battle strength is terrifying. He can actually suppress O Yebing. Many people were shocked. One had to know that O Yebing was the strongest Void Emperor among the younger generation of the celestial world. Although he was defeated by Lu Ming, it was only because Lu Ming was too abnormal, not because O Yebing was weak. But now, Tianming could actually suppress O Yebing. Tianming is worthy of being the second-ranked genius of the primordial realm. His talent is terrifying. Yes, if the primordial realm didn't have an even more abnormal Lu Ming, he would be invincible. Every one of the destiny laws is abnormal. Once they grow up, their achievements will be limitless. Discussions broke out in the surroundings. Many people sighed. Tianming's talent was terrifying. In the future, he would definitely be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the 9 absolutes, or even surpass some of them. But then, everyone thought of Lu Ming. Although Tianming was strong, he was still suppressed by Lu Ming. Everyone sighed. It wasn't that Tianming wasn't strong, but that Lu Ming was too abnormal and couldn't be understood with common sense. Ah! O Yebing roared. He was not reconciled to being suppressed by Tianming. He wanted to erupt with all his strength and attack crazily, wanting to turn the tables. He condensed all kinds of weapons and attacked Tianming. Unfortunately, these weapons exploded and crumbled under Tianming's attacks. Tianming became stronger and stronger as the battle went on, and his advantage continued to increase. He completely suppressed O Yebing. Bang! In the end, O Yebing was sent flying, vomiting blood as he was blasted out of the battle stage. O Yebing was defeated. The genius who was known as the strongest in the Void Emperor realm was defeated once again. What strength! The primordial realm really has a few geniuses. Apart from Lu Ming, Tianming should be the strongest in the Void Emperor realm. Yes, he's invincible among the Void Emperors. Many people discussed. Tianming's reputation had risen to the peak. Some of the 9 absolutes looked at Tianming with solemn eyes. Tianming would definitely be a great threat to them when he became a true emperor. However, Xianyuan Yi and Lin Xiaofeng's eyes were calm, exuding strong confidence. Tianming didn't continue. He left the stage and returned to his seat. Now, it's time for the battle between the 9 aces. Many people thought to themselves and became more and more expectant. But at this moment, a petite figure appeared on the stage in a flash. That's a spacetime spirit mouse. Many people's eyes flickered. Bubble. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Bubbles was about to make a move. Lu Ming hadn't seen Bubbles fight for many years. He wanted to see how strong Bubbles was. The talents of the top 10 war beasts were absolutely astonishing. Now that they had received guidance from the Almighty of the Heaven Realm, their improvement would definitely be astonishing. Bubbles' gaze swept across the crowd and finally landed on Xinghe and Yuan Xian. The two of you, come up here. I'll let you work together. Chirp chirp. Bubbles pouted, her crisp voice resounding throughout the entire arena. This guy really wants to challenge Stellar River and Yuan Xian. Lu Ming smiled. Both Stellar River and Yuan Xian had a grudge against Lu Ming and had always targeted Lu Ming. Bubbles naturally remembered that. Stellar River and Yuan Xian's faces turned ugly. Humph, a loser from back then. I alone am enough to deal with you. Why do I need two people? Yuan Xian said coldly and rushed onto the stage. You can't do it. I'll defeat you in one move. Yuan Xian curled her lips and revealed a look of disdain. Ha ha ha, defeat me in one move? What a joke. Yuan Xian laughed crazily. Bubbles actually said that she would defeat him in one move. Even Tianming couldn't do it. Who did she think she was? What a joke. You go first. I'll let you go first. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. Chirp chirp. Bubbles said as if she didn't care about Yuan Xian at all. Yuan Xian was furious. Then I'll fulfill your wish. Yuan Xian shouted and rushed towards Bubbles. At the same time, he unleashed his strongest combat power. Facing the spacetime spirit mouse, Yuan Xian didn't dare to be careless. He attacked with his strongest combat power. He was surrounded by all kinds of laws and charged towards Bubbles. However, when he was halfway there, his body stiffened in midair. The various laws that covered his body suddenly disappeared without a trace. Yuan Xian's face changed drastically. He roared and manipulated the laws again. However, the laws disappeared as soon as they appeared. Time laws, it's the time laws. Using the time laws to control the power of time and travel back to the moment, and the opponent didn't manipulate the laws. Therefore, when Yuan Xian's laws appeared, they disappeared. How terrifying. Many people saw the trick and were shocked. This was already manipulating the power of time. Void Emperor was only able to do this. As expected of the spacetime spirit mouse. At this moment, Bubbles appeared in front of Yuan Xian and kicked Yuan Xian's face. Yuan Xian's body was like a broken sandbag. He flew out of the stage and fell heavily on the ground. He vomited blood and his face was completely swollen. Defeated, Yuan Xian was defeated. Bubbles really only used one move. Many people were shocked. Bubbles' combat power was beyond their imagination. Tianming's eyes narrowed slightly. He looked at Bubbles with a grave expression. How useless. Bubbles muttered and stopped looking at Yuan Xian. This made Yuan Xian vomit another mouthful of blood. It was from anger. Yuan Xian had suffered a huge blow today. He originally wanted to defeat Tianming and avenge the humiliation back then. However, he was easily defeated by Tianming in the end. That was fine, but now, he was defeated by Bubbles in one move. Bubbles was his defeated opponent back then, but now, she defeated him in one move. He couldn't accept it. Bubble ignored him and swept his gaze over the remaining youths. Those who were swept by his gaze all had a change in expression. Will she challenge Tianming? Many people thought so. However, in the end, Bubbles didn't challenge Tianming. Her gaze fell on O Yibing. You, come out and fight. Bubbles pointed at O Yibing. O Yibing's face was gloomy. Bubbles actually challenged him. However, today, in the face of a challenge, he had to fight. He couldn't back down. Otherwise, his reputation would be completely ruined. He stepped out and landed on the stage. Although your spacetime law is mysterious, it depends on who your opponent is. If your opponent's strength surpasses yours, your spacetime law won't work. I'm not Yuan Xian. I'll use my powerful strength to break your spacetime law. Oh Yebing said. Many people's hearts moved. That was indeed the case. The spacetime law was incomparably mysterious and unpredictable. It could mobilize the power of time and space. It was terrifying. However, no law was truly invincible. When one's strength reached a certain level, it could break all laws. Chapter 23:19. You talk too much. If you're not going to attack, I'll attack. Bubble muttered, then suddenly rushed towards her opponent. Her speed was extremely fast, as if she was traveling through the void. Oh Yebing didn't dare to be careless. He used the divine weapon seal technique and surrounded his body with all kinds of weapons. The weapons vibrated, shattering the void and stopping Bubble's attack. Oh Yebing's strength was indeed much stronger than Yuan Xian's. His combat strength was astonishing and could already affect Bubble's spacetime laws. Therefore, Bubble naturally couldn't defeat Oh Yebing as easily as she defeated Yuan Xian. However, after the two exchanged blows, Bubble still had the upper hand. Bubble's figure flickered, and no matter how Oh Yebing attacked, he couldn't hit Bubble. In fact, under the influence of Bubble's spacetime law, Oh Yebing's speed was much slower, and the speed at which he condensed divine armament seals was also much slower. After dozens of moves, he was sent flying by Bubble, suffering heavy injuries. Oh Yebing was defeated again. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Today, he had suffered 2 consecutive defeats at the hands of the Yuan realm's geniuses. The talent of the spacetime spirit mouse is indeed amazing. It's only been a few years and it's already reached this level. That's natural. When the top 10 battle beasts grow up, they'll all be peak powerhouses. How do you think the combat strength of the spacetime spirit mouse compared to Tianming? It's hard to say. I feel that the spacetime spirit mouse is stronger. Not necessarily. Many people were discussing. While they were shocked, they couldn't help but compare Tianming and Bubble. Both of them had defeated Oh Yebing. It could be said that they stood at the peak of the Void Emperor realm. However, it was really hard to compare who was stronger between the two. In terms of laws, the destiny laws were indeed stronger than the spacetime laws. However, a law also depended on who was using it. The spacetime spirit mouse was born to control the spacetime laws. No living creature could compare to the spacetime spirit mouse in terms of the application of the spacetime laws. Those so-called Elysian children controlled the spacetime laws, but in terms of the application of the spacetime laws, they were far inferior to the spacetime spirit mouse. Therefore, it was hard to say who would win. Many people were curious. Would Bubble challenge the heavenly mandate next? However, everyone was disappointed. Bubble didn't challenge Tianming. She seemed to have had enough. After the bubble went down, no one in the Void Emperor realm went up to challenge it. Many people looked expectant. Next was the main event, the battle between the 9 aces. This time, the reason why so many people had come was to watch the duel between the 9 absolutes. More than 10 years ago, the ranking of the 9 spellcasters had been determined. Over the past 10 years, the 9 spellcasters had rarely fought each other. Everyone wanted to see if there would be any changes in the rankings of the 9 absolutes in the past 10 years. Whoosh! A figure rushed onto the fighting ring. It was the Black Tortoise Forest. As expected, he was the first to make a move. The Black Tortoise Forest is ranked last among the 9 extinctions. I wonder if he can make it this time. It's hard to say. None of the 9 extinctions are weak. We'll only know after we fight. Everyone expressed their opinions. Next, Xian Wulin started his challenge. He challenged the 8th-ranked genius of the 9 extinctions. The two exchanged many moves, but in the end, Xian Wulin was defeated, not a match for the other. Xian Wulin was unwilling to give up. After taking a pill to adjust his condition to the peak, he challenged the 7th-ranked genius. However, he was still defeated. In the end, he had no choice but to give up the challenge. His ranking remained at the 9th place. Next, it was the battle between the 9 absolutes. Fierce battles continued. The 9 absolutes had long entered the true Emperor realm. Their combat strength was so strong that it attracted everyone's attention. Especially the geniuses below the Void Emperor realm. They could learn a lot from the battles. Exciting battles took place one after another. However, there were very few changes in the rankings. In the past, the higher-ranked geniuses were indeed stronger. This was the case until now. There was only one change. The 5th-ranked genius defeated the 4th-ranked genius and took his place. The rest of the rankings did not change. Soon, the 3rd-ranked prodigy defeated his opponent. He turned his gaze to Xianyuan Yi and Lin Xiaofan. In the end, he challenged the 2nd-ranked genius, Xianyuan Yi. You overestimate yourself. Xianyuan Yi stepped out and landed on the fighting ring. I will defeat you within 10 moves. Xianyuan Yi said indifferently, full of confidence. 10 moves? Xianyuan Yi, you're too confident. The 3rd-ranked genius. His face was a little ugly. I'm already flattering you by saying 10 moves. Do you understand? Xianyuan Yi said indifferently. His figure suddenly rushed towards the 3rd-ranked genius. The 3rd-ranked genius was a blue-robed youth. He had fought with the foreign race prince outside the two-world city and was defeated. At that time, he had the combat strength of an 8th-order true emperor. Now, his combat strength was undoubtedly stronger. Boom! The blue-robed youth erupted with all his strength and attacked with a terrifying divine art. 10th-order true emperor realm combat strength. Someone exclaimed. The blue-robed youth was much stronger than when he fought with the foreign race prince. His combat strength had increased by 2 levels, reaching the 10th-order true emperor realm. It was extremely shocking to have such combat strength at his age. Unfortunately, he had met Xianyuan Yi. Xianyuan Yi's world force surged and the laws of the world filled his body. A halberd appeared in his hand. Boom! The halberd was incomparably huge. It grew to the size of a mountain and slashed towards the blue-robed youth. The halberd was invincible and powerful to the extreme. When it slashed down, the blue-robed youth's attacks and defenses collapsed completely. Boom! The blue-robed youth frantically retreated. He was blasted tens of thousands of meters away. His face was abnormally pale. A deep wound appeared on his body. It was so deep that his bones could be seen. Blood flowed freely. He was severely injured in one move. I've already shown mercy. Otherwise, you would have been dead. I said that I'll defeat you in 10 moves. Otherwise, I'll defeat you in 1 move. Xianyuan Yi said indifferently. The blue-robed youth's face turned ugly. 1 move, it was really just 1 move. Xianyuan Yi defeated him. The difference in combat strength between the two was too great. The scene was silent. Many people were tongue-tied. This result was far beyond their expectations. The blue-robed youth, ranked 3rd among the 9 absolutes, was defeated in 1 move by Xianyuan Yi. In everyone's imagination, even if the blue-robed youth was no match for Xianyuan Yi, the two should be able to exchange blows. However, the result was completely one-sided. A 10th-order true emperor realm combat strength can't even withstand a single blow. How strong is Xianyuan Yi? He's at least at the 12th order true emperor realm. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to defeat him so easily. It's even higher than that. No wonder the Lan family offered 100 chaos stones as a reward. Could it be that Xianyuan Yi can really defeat Lin Xiaofeng? Chapter 23:20. This time, many people had guessed that Xianyuan Yi must have made great progress and had amazing combat strength. Otherwise, the Lan family would not have offered 100 chaos stones as a reward. But when they saw that the third-ranked genius could not withstand a single blow from Xianyuan Yi, they were still very shocked. Perhaps Xianyuan Yi could really fight Lin Xiaofeng. Lan Cheng and some of the older generation experts of the Lan family smiled, especially Lan Cheng, who stroked his beard and smiled confidently. Xianyuan Yi stood on the fighting ring. He was tall and slender and was full of confidence. His gaze landed on Lin Xiaofeng as he spoke in a firm and confident voice. Lin Xiaofeng, come up and fight. Xianyuan Yi's voice spread throughout the area. As you wish. As soon as Lin Xiaofeng's voice fell, his figure was already on the fighting ring. Lin Xiaofeng, you were lucky to beat me more than 10 years ago. Today, I will trample you under my feet and let everyone know who the strongest genius is, whether in the heaven realm or the primordial realm. Xianyuan Yi said proudly and confidently. I'll take the 100 chaos stones. This was Lin Xiaofeng's answer. He was also full of confidence. Everyone's eyes fell on the two young figures on the fighting ring. These two were the strongest geniuses in the heaven realm and the primordial realm. Their future achievements were limitless and unpredictable. These two people had fought a peak battle more than 10 years ago. That battle left a deep impression and was still unforgettable. After more than 10 years, the two were going to fight again. This time, who was stronger and who was weaker? Boom! Boom! Xianyuan Yi and Lin Xiaofeng exploded with powerful auras. Their auras intertwined in the void and produced a violent roar. Explosive divine slash. A sky piercer appeared in Xianyuan Yi's hand. The sky piercer rapidly enlarged and towered into the clouds. There were precepts surrounding it and its aura was shocking. Then, the sky piercer viciously slashed at Lin Xiaofeng. Clang! The sound of the saber resounded throughout the area. Lin Xiaofeng's saber was unsheathed. A ray of saber light rushed up and slashed at his opponent. Boom! The two terrifying attacks collided fiercely, causing the space to shake violently. Even the fighting stage let out a violent rumble. Boundless energy swept out in all directions. Xianyuan Yi and Lin Xiaofeng both shuddered and took a few steps back. However, as soon as they stopped, they both stomped heavily on the fighting ring and rushed towards each other like two rays of light. Boom! The two of them collided in the middle of the fighting ring, as if two stars had collided. Saber radiance and halberd radiance swept out in all directions. Clang! Clang! Following that, the two of them engaged in an intense battle. In the blink of an eye, the two had already exchanged several dozen moves. So strong, comparable to a 13th level true emperor. That's right, a 13th order true emperor at such a young age. Amazing! Many older generation figures sighed. In the past, not to mention reaching the 13th rank, even becoming an emperor at this age was considered not bad. This era was truly a crazy era. The two of them fought fiercely on the fighting stage. As they fought, their auras grew stronger and stronger, and their battle prowess grew stronger and stronger. In the end, their combat strength had surpassed the 13th rank of a true emperor and entered the 14th rank. This made many people gasp. Lin Xiaofeng and Xianyuan Yi's combat strength had reached the 14th rank of a true emperor. The battle became even more intense. The two of them had exchanged more than 200 moves but there was no clear winner. Lin Xiaofeng, is this the limit of your combat strength? What a disappointment. At this moment, Xianyuan Yi's voice was heard. That's all you've got. It's impossible for you to defeat me. Lin Xiaofeng said. Is that so? Lin Xiaofeng, today is the day I rise. From now on, I will be the strongest in the world. Xianyuan Yi shouted and suddenly let out a long whistle. Boom! The halberd in his hand suddenly surged and he struck out, colliding with Lin Xiaofeng's battle saber. Amidst the violent explosion, Lin Xiaofeng's battle saber shook violently and finally exploded with a bang. Lin Xiaofeng's figure retreated rapidly until he reached the edge of the fighting ring. His chest heaved up and down as he looked at Xianyuan Yi in shock. 15th rank of a true emperor? You've reached the 15th rank of a true emperor? Lin Xiaofeng said in disbelief. The crowd was in an uproar. Xianyuan Yi's combat strength had reached the 15th rank of a true emperor. This was too terrifying for someone so young to have reached this step. The 15th rank of a true emperor was close to the peak of the true emperor realm. Once one reached the peak of the true emperor realm, they would be able to break through to the emperor realm. Many older generation figures had to spend a lot of time to reach this step. Xianyuan Yi, on the other hand, had reached this step in less than 100 years. It was too shocking. The third-ranked youth in the Blue Mountain was only at the 10th rank of a true emperor. The difference between him and a 15th rank true emperor was too great. Terrifying, too terrifying. Is this Xianyuan Yi's true combat strength? No wonder the Lan family is so confident. Who can defeat a 15th rank true emperor at such a young age? The Lan family took out 100 chaos stones. It seems generous, but they're confident that Xianyuan Yi will get it. Moreover, they can push Xianyuan Yi to the peak in one fell swoop. This move is brilliant. Many people were discussing and admiring the Lan family's methods. Lan Cheng stroked his beard with a smug smile on his face. After this, the Lan family would have 2 of the 9 absolutes geniuses. Moreover, one of them would be the number 1 genius in the world. The Lan family's prestige would definitely reach the peak. The Lan family would also become stronger and stronger in his hands. Lan Cheng was incomparably happy. It's a pity that Lu Ming is dead. It's a pity that I didn't get the indestructible ancient scripture. Lan Cheng sighed in his heart. Boom! At this time, Xianyuan Yi stepped forward and a powerful aura pressed down on Lin Xiaofeng. Lin Xiaofeng, I've said it before. This time, I'll trample you under my feet and prove to everyone that I'm the number 1 in the world. Xianyuan Yi shouted loudly as the power of the sky piercer in his hand grew stronger. Fight! Lin Xiaofeng shouted. He was unwilling to admit defeat. He became one with his saber and attacked Xianyuan Yi. However, the gap between their combat strength was there and it was difficult to cross it. The difference between a 14th rank true emperor and a 15th rank true emperor was real, not a difference in cultivation. The 2 of them exchanged a few more moves, but Lin Xiaofeng was no match for him. He was sent flying and vomited blood. In the end, he was hit by Xianyuan Yi and was sent flying off the battle stage. Chapter 23-21. Xianyuan Yi stood on the fighting ring, holding the sky piercer in his hand. He looked like an invincible god of war, majestic and imposing. On the other hand, Lin Xiaofeng's face was pale and full of dejection. He had lost. From now on, he was no longer the number 1 expert in the world. The number 1 genius of the younger generation had changed hands. Ha ha ha, good, good, good. Lan Cheng laughed even louder, his smile blossoming like a flower. All of this was as he had expected. There was no change at all. Xianyuan Yi had indeed defeated Lin Xiaofeng and seized the title of the world's number 1 genius. His prestige would reach its peak, and so would the prestige of the Lan family. Is there anyone else who wants to fight? If not, this duel is completely over. Lan Cheng stood up with a smile on his face, and his voice spread throughout the arena. I'll do it. At that moment, a clear voice was heard. Outside the square, a rainbow light flew in at an extremely fast speed and landed on the fighting ring. It was a young man of 15 or 16 years old. He was elegant and had an extraordinary temperament. However, many people were stunned when they saw the young man's face. Long Chen, Huang Ling, Huang Li, Bubbles, and the others were all stunned and dumbfounded. At the same time, Blue Cloud, Heng Xinghe, Yuan Xian, and the others, including Lan Cheng and the others, were also dumbfounded. Even Lu Ming himself almost bit his tongue. His eyes were wide open. Because the young man looked too much like Lu Ming. He looked 70 to 80% similar to Lu Ming, but more delicate. No, he's not Lu Ming. He's only 15 or 16 years old. He can't be Lu Ming. Immediately, someone said. A person's appearance could be changed at will. However, one's aura, or life chi, would not change. One could clearly tell a person's age from their life chi. The young man was definitely not old. He should be 15 or 16 years old. Of course, a 15 or 16-year-old could not be Lu Ming. My hair, could this young man be Lu Ming's illegitimate son? Heartless monk chanted the name of Buddha and muttered softly. However, everyone present was an expert, so they naturally heard it clearly. Many people's hearts trembled. Perhaps this was really possible because the two of them were really too similar. This monk, Lu Ming, rubbed his nose speechlessly and looked at the unscrupulous monk with disdain. What a wild imagination, Lu Ming thought. But at that moment, the youth turned to Monk Wuliang and cupped his fists. Master, do you know Lu Ming? Of course, Lu Ming is my brother. We've known each other for decades. Little guy, what's your relationship with Lu Ming? Monk Wuliang said. That's my father. The young man said. Puff. Lu Ming had been drinking a mouthful of wine, but at this moment, he spat it out. He stared at the youth, dumbfounded. The young man actually said that he was his son. Son? He has a son. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. At the same time, his mind raced. Little Qing. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He thought of Xian Yinqing. He had only had sex with Xian Yinqing before. Calculating the time, it just so happened to be the same age as the young man. Moreover, Lu Ming sized him up carefully and realized that there were indeed some traces of Xian Yinqing in the young man's eyes. Could it be, really my son? Lu Ming had an inexplicable feeling in his heart. This feeling was very strange and indescribable. The others, such as Long Chen, Huang Ling, Bubbles and the others, were also dumbfounded. Brother Lu Ming has a son. Little Lu Ming? He really looks like him. Chirp chirp. Bubbles cried out. Chirp chirp, I was just guessing. I didn't expect that I was right. Monk Wuliang's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Lu Ming, Huang Ling sighed with mixed feelings. Lu Ming's son, Blue Cloud, Heng Xinghe, Yuan Xian and the others had a cold light in their eyes. As for Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu and the Primordial Body Cultivator Supreme Elders, they all looked at Lu Ming with strange expressions. Lu Ming resisted the urge to rush out. Now was not the time. Even if the other party was really his and Xian Yinqing's son, it would be the same after they recognized each other. If he went out now and showed his true body, he would probably not have a share of the 100 Chaos Stones. Lan Cheng and the others would definitely not let him challenge Xianyuan Yi. Everyone's thoughts turned in their hearts. Senior, do you know where my father, Lu Ming, is now? The young man looked at Monk Wuliang and continued to ask. This, He is in seclusion in a secret place and can't come out for the time being. Monk Wuliang made up nonsense. What seclusion? Let me tell you, Lu Ming is already dead. A cold voice sounded. It was Blue Cloud. The young man was actually Lu Ming's son. He was unhappy just looking at him. What did you say? You're talking nonsense. My mother said that my father is unparalleled and invincible in the younger generation. How can he be dead? The young man glared at Blue Cloud. What unparalleled, my ass, you're really deceiving yourself. Blue Cloud despised. In my opinion, you must have been defeated by my father before, and even abused very badly. Otherwise, you wouldn't deliberately belittle him like this. A light flashed in the young man's eyes as he said coldly. You, Blue Cloud's face flushed red. The young man's words just happened to poke his sore spot. He was abused by Lu Ming more than once. Each time, it was very miserable, causing him to lose face. Ha ha ha, little Lu Ming, you're right. He was abused very badly by Lu Ming. He was simply kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy, crying for his father and mother. He even betrayed his ancestors. Monk Wuliang added fuel to the fire and directly implicated the Lan family. This made Lan Cheng's expression ugly. He wished he could slap Monk Wuliang to death. On the other hand, Blue Cloud's face alternated between green and green. Alright, young man, you want to challenge? Who do you want to challenge? Lan Cheng quickly changed the topic. The young man's gaze swept across the crowd and finally landed on Xian Wulin. I want to challenge him. The young man pointed at Xian Wulin. What? Everyone was shocked. The young man actually wanted to challenge Xian Wulin? The young man was only 15 or 16 years old. How strong could his cultivation be? It was already rare to be able to become an emperor at this age, but he actually wanted to challenge Xian Wulin. No matter what, Xian Wulin was still one of the 9 absolutes. His cultivation had already broken through to the true emperor realm. Now, he even had the combat strength of a 6th-order true emperor. How could he challenge the 9 absolutes at such a young age? Xian Wulin's face darkened. It was embarrassing for him to be challenged by a 15-year-old young man. At such a young age, you're overestimating yourself. You actually want to challenge the 9 absolutes. You don't have the slightest bit of self-awareness. You're no different from your father. Blue Cloud was very unhappy and seized the opportunity to mock and ridicule. Oh, since that's the case, I'll challenge you first. Come down and fight. The young man looked at Blue Cloud. You want to challenge me? Blue Cloud's expression changed slightly. Nonsense, you, come down and fight. Don't tell me you don't even dare to accept my challenge. Chapter 23-22. The young man used provocation to challenge Blue Cloud. However, Blue Cloud had no choice but to accept it even though he knew it was a provocation. The other party was only a 15 or 16-year-old youth. If he didn't even dare to accept this challenge, then he wouldn't be able to show his face in the future. He would be laughed at by others. Since you want to fight, I'll grant you your wish. Blue Cloud said coldly as he stepped out and landed on the battle platform. Lu Ming's palm couldn't help but tighten. He was a little worried for the young man. He was ready to take out the fallen star Bao at any time. If the young man was in danger, he would help. Bubbles and the others were also staring at the arena, especially Bubbles. He wouldn't let anything happen to the young man. You're so arrogant at such a young age. I'd like to see what you're capable of. Blue Cloud said coldly. The young man was only 15 or 16 years old. He didn't believe that the young man could be a match for him. He was also a top prodigy who had cultivated hard for decades to achieve such an achievement. He had never heard of anyone who could achieve as much as him at the age of 15 or 16. There had never been anyone since ancient times. Make your move. Once you make your move, you'll naturally see what I'm capable of. The young man said indifferently. His expression was calm and indifferent, as if he didn't take Blue Cloud seriously at all. Blue Cloud was getting angrier and angrier. Since you're courting death, I'll grant you your wish. Kill. Blue Cloud roared angrily as light erupted from his body. Then, endless light converged into a giant lion that pounced towards the young man. The giant lion was as big as a mountain and had a terrifying aura. Blue Cloud used his ultimate move right away. If the young man was hit, he would definitely die. Since the young man said that he was Lu Ming's son, then he would send him on his way. A sinister look flashed in Blue Cloud's eyes. Seeing that the giant lion was about to pounce on the young man made his move. A layer of dark light emanated from his body. Then, a black sword light burst out and slashed towards the giant lion. Pfft! The giant lion that Blue Cloud transformed from his ability was like a piece of tofu. It couldn't withstand a single blow and was directly defeated by the young man's dark light. Moreover, the black light did not stop there, and continued to attack Blue Cloud. The speed of the black light was so fast that Blue Cloud couldn't dodge it. How is this possible? Blue Cloud roared in anger. Both of his fists continued to bombard the giant lions. However, they were all swept away by the black light and disintegrated. Whoosh! The black light hit Blue Cloud, and Blue Cloud let out a blood-curdling scream. He tried to retreat, but it was useless. His body was directly cut in two by the black light. He fell to the ground, howling in pain. Hiss hiss hiss, many people sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at the young man in shock. One move. With just one move, the young man had cut Blue Cloud into two halves. This was too shocking. One should know that Blue Cloud was a top-notch genius who had mastered an ultimate law. His current cultivation had even reached the level of a 5-star illusionary emperor. Even with such a high level of cultivation, he couldn't even withstand a single move from the youth. This was too shocking. Some of the older generation figures saw even more. What kind of power is that? It's so terrifying. This young man's cultivation is at the level of a 3-star illusionary emperor, but the power he cultivates is terrifyingly strong. That's right. It's a bit like the power of the immemorial cultivation system, but it's more condensed, sharper, and more terrifying. Some of the older generation figures discussed animatedly. It was already extremely shocking for a young man to reach the level of a 3-star illusionary emperor at such a young age. However, the power that the young man cultivated was even stranger. When the young man attacked, there wasn't any fluctuation of law. Obviously, the young man didn't cultivate the law system. However, it wasn't the immemorial cultivation system either. This was because the young man's power was even more terrifying than the power cultivated by the immemorial cultivation system. Some of the older generation figures discussed in shock. Nest, you're amazing. You're really amazing. You're worthy of being Lu Ming's son. He defeated Blue Cloud in one move. He's really amazing. Monk Wuliang, Long Chen, and the others were also discussing in shock. This power, only Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. This was because he had seen this kind of power once. Back then, after he had sex with Xian Yanqing, the next day, Xian Yanqing seemed to have changed into a different person and attacked him. The power that Xian Yanqing used was this kind of power. It was invincible and its attack power was so strong that it could even penetrate the laws. He's really my son. At this moment, Lu Ming came to a conclusion and felt an inexplicable excitement in his heart. No one would be able to remain calm if they suddenly had a son. Lu Ming couldn't wait to rush out immediately and reunite with the young man. Then, He would ask about Xian Yinqing's whereabouts. If the young man was here, then Xian Yinqing must also be in the Taiqing sky domain. He had to get to the bottom of this matter. However, he wasn't in a hurry for the time being. It wouldn't be too late to wait until the Lan family's matter was resolved. At this moment, the experts of the Lan family had already rescued Blue Cloud. With Blue Cloud's cultivation, being cut in half was a small matter and could be easily healed. The biggest blow to him was that he was defeated by the young man in one move. Impossible, impossible. Blue Cloud kept yelling in his heart. He couldn't accept it. He had been defeated by a 15 or 16-year-old boy in one move. This was a great humiliation. You can't even withstand a single blow. The young man shook his head and looked at Xian Wulin. Now, we can fight. The young man said. Xian Wulin narrowed his eyes and stepped onto the fighting ring. Buzz. Stars appeared around Xian Wulin. There were a total of 360 stars that covered his entire body. Xian Wulin didn't dare to be careless in front of the young man. Clang! A sword chime sounded and a pitch-black battle sword appeared in the young man's hand. Remember, the one who defeated you is Lu Shenhuang. The young man's voice sounded and the sword light whizzed out, piercing the void and slashing toward Xian Wulin at an extremely fast speed. Lu Shenhuang. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Was this the name that Xian Yinqing had given the young man? Lu Shenhuang meant the divine wilderness continent and also the place where Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing met and fell in love. They had experienced unforgettable times in the divine wilderness continent. Heavenly Cycle Stellar Fist. Xian Wulin roared as he waved his hands and stars flew toward Lu Shenhuang. Whoosh! 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 Lu Shenhuang's battle sword shook and sword chi whizzed out. Streaks of black sword light slashed at the stars. Pung! Pung! The stars exploded like fireworks. Xian Wulin's expression changed and he used all his strength. More stars flew toward Xian Wulin. Each star contained his power of law, but Lu Shenhuang's sword light was shockingly powerful. It could easily tear apart his power of law. The two quickly attacked and the sky was filled with sword light and starlight. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of blows. What terrifying strength! A genius, a genius! Some of the older generation exclaimed at Lu Shenhuang's battle strength. His cultivation was only that of a 3-star Void Emperor. However, he was able to fight against Xian Wulin. His fighting strength was not only shocking, it was unimaginable. Chapter 23-23. My hair, my nest, this is too perverted. Too heaven-defying. Unscrupulous monk started to spout nonsense. As expected of Lu Ming's son. He's even stronger than Lu Ming. Long Chen sighed. If that was the case, then Lu Shenhuang was stronger than Lu Ming back in the day. When Lu Ming broke through to the Martial Emperor realm, he became a 4-star Void Emperor and fought against Xian Wulin. In the end, he managed to defeat Xian Wulin by combining 9 types of laws. However, Xian Wulin wasn't as strong as he was now. At that time, Xian Wulin was only a 3rd-order true emperor. It was obvious that Lu Shenhuang was stronger than Lu Ming back in the day. Of course, now that Lu Ming's mastery of various laws had deepened and he had cultivated the primordial body cultivation, his physical strength had skyrocketed. Now, Lu Ming's ability to fight beyond his level was much stronger than before. Great! Lu Ming was overjoyed to see Lu Shenhuang's strength. Damn it, how could this be? Some were happy while others were worried. Heng Xinghe, Yuan Xian, Lan Cheng and the others roared in disbelief. Lu Ming was already abnormal enough, but his son was even more abnormal. How could this be? They roared in their hearts and went crazy with jealousy. Pung! 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 Lu Shenhuang and Xian Wulin fought fiercely, causing explosions to ring out. However, the more they fought, the stronger Lu Shenhuang became. His entire body was covered with a layer of black light that merged with his battle sword. The sword light was extremely sharp and it constantly destroyed Xian Wulin's stars. In the end, the sword light destroyed the stars even faster. Before Xian Wulin could condense his stars, Lu Shenhuang had already arrived in front of him and slashed out with his sword. Xian Wulin screamed as he coughed out blood and retreated from the battle stage. There was a deep wound on his body that was bleeding profusely. Xian Wulin had lost. He had been defeated by Lu Shenhuang. From now on, the position of 9 absolutes would be replaced by Lu Shenhuang. Xian Wulin's expression was extremely ugly. This was a huge blow to him. Lan Cheng's expression was ugly as he said coldly, "Lu Shenhuang, do you still want to continue?" "No." Lu Shenhuang shook his head and rushed down the stage. He landed on a seat and closed his eyes to meditate. "Is there anyone else who wants to challenge me? If not, then the first place today belongs to Xianyuan Yi." Lan Cheng stood up and announced, his voice spreading throughout the audience. "Let me." As soon as Lan Cheng's voice fell, he was interrupted. At this moment, Lu Ming stood up and took a step forward, landing on the battle stage. Many people's eyes fell on Lu Ming, but when they saw Lu Ming's appearance, they were slightly stunned. This was because they had never seen Lu Ming's appearance before. Another genius that had never appeared before? Some Heavenly Emperor characters revealed looks of surprise. With Heavenly Emperor realm cultivation, they could sense that Lu Ming should have changed his appearance. But they could not see through Lu Ming's original appearance. What a brilliant disguise technique! Some Heavenly Emperor characters whispered. "You want to challenge? Who do you want to challenge?" Lan Cheng asked. "If I want to challenge, of course I want to challenge the first place. Xianyuan Yi, come down and fight." Lu Ming's gaze looked at Xianyuan Yi. What? Many people were shocked. Someone actually wanted to challenge Xianyuan Yi. Xianyuan Yi's combat strength was obvious to all. He had reached the 15th level of a true emperor. This kind of combat strength, without a doubt, was unparalleled among the younger generation. But now, someone wanted to challenge Xianyuan Yi. This was crazy. Many people originally thought that Lu Ming's challenge was nothing more than the same as Lu Shenhuang's, casually challenging a few experts to hone himself or gain fame. But now, Lu Ming wanted to challenge Xianyuan Yi, which was greatly beyond everyone's expectations. This kid must be playing to the gallery. He wants to challenge Xianyuan Yi to increase his fame. Even if he loses miserably, his fame will rise. Yes, it must be so. Some people discussed. Xianyuan Yi's eyes narrowed slightly as he rushed to the battle stage. "Kid, swords have no eyes. If you challenge me and I make a mistake and cripple or kill you, you only have yourself to blame," Xianyuan Yi said coldly. He was not in a good mood. He had already defeated Lin Xiaofan and ascended to the first place. Everything was perfect. But now, someone wanted to challenge him. Everything seemed to be flawed and not very perfect. Therefore, he wanted to kill Lu Ming. Later, he would kill him in one move to make an example and let everyone know the consequences of challenging him. "Kid, what's your name?" At this time, Lan Cheng asked. "I'm just a nobody. Let's not talk about it." Lu Ming smiled faintly. A nobody dares to challenge Brother Xianyuan. He's overestimating himself. In my opinion, this person is playing to the gallery. Brother Xianyuan doesn't need to accept the challenge at all. Just ask someone to throw him out. A voice sounded. It was Xian Wulin who spoke. Xian Wulin had just been defeated by Lu Shenhuang in public, so he was in a bad mood and would bite anyone he could find. At this time, Lu Ming rushed out. He was very unhappy with Lu Ming and directly mocked him. "You can't even be compared to a 15-year-old boy. How dare you yell here? If I were you, I would just destroy my own cultivation." Lu Ming looked at Xian Wulin and sneered. "You, kid, Brother Xianyuan doesn't need to do anything today. I'll teach you a lesson." Xian Wulin was furious. He rushed to the battle stage and cupped his fist at Xianyuan Yi. "Brother Xianyuan, you don't need to deal with a nobody. I'll teach him a lesson for you." "Okay." Xianyuan Yi nodded and moved to the side of the battle stage. In his opinion, it was best that Xian Wulin did it so that he would not have to do anything. "You want to fight?" Lu Ming looked at Xian Wulin and said. "That's right. I'd like to see what makes you dare to challenge Brother Xianyuan." Xian Wulin said coldly. "You can't. You're too weak. I don't want to torture you." Unexpectedly, Lu Ming shook his head with a look of contempt. Xian Wulin's lungs were about to explode. Who was he? He was one of the 9 absolutes. But today, he had been defeated by Lu Shenhuang, and now, even a nameless person was looking down on him. He was furious, and his killing intent soared. "Kid, who doesn't know how to talk nonsense? Show me what you're capable of." Xian Wulin roared. Hundreds of stars appeared all over his body, and hundreds of stars gathered together and blasted towards Lu Ming with extraordinary power. As soon as he attacked, Xian Wulin used his killing move to blast Lu Ming into ashes. Boom! The huge star fell like a meteor, dragging a long tail. Its power was terrifying. But then, Lu Ming moved. There was no energy fluctuation on his body, nor was there any fluctuation of laws. It was just a simple punch. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.